Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bestie in Slot extra effort tournament here in North America. I hope that you guys are excited for some fantastic rematch. I know I most certainly am. It's Hunted here with Yo Boy Q. Q, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I am living the dream. Get to jump into some rematch action. Like you said, it's our last wave of the beta. I'm excited to get down into this. We're into our single elim portion. It's win or go home. That's all stakes in the line, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, and we are not starting slow, by the way. We are
Yeah.
jumping straight into the action. So if you don't know what the tournament's about, we had a ladder coming into a top 16 bracket. And the number one overall seed was given for winning the ladder, was given the choice of who they want to play in the first round. They decided that they wanted to go full bore and play the number two overall seed directly at the start. So it's going to be Team Penguin. What are their names? Team Penguin versus Yaish FC. And you will definitely recognize some North American rematch names if you've been following the scene up to this point.
I love the boldness to go off rip, go for that number two. I mean, I guess in a single elim, you figure you're probably gonna have to play the number two team at some point. Might as well play them when you're a little bit more fresh, I do suppose. But let's get things spicy here right up off the riff, Hunted.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, it brings us right into the tournament, and I hope that everybody watching at home, I hope you enjoy the rematch action. Of course, this is a beta. If you haven't watched one of these streams before, so give us a little bit of time to work some things out. It's been pretty good throughout the day today. It's always been pretty good. Slow Clap has done a fantastic job with getting this off the ground, but there's always some things that could happen in the background, right? So just putting that disclaimer out there before we jump in. But again, Rematch has certainly delivered on the esports front so far.
It feels like they have definitely built this thing with esports in mind, which is always good to see. I know for the esports enjoyers out there, they always like to be able to get right into the competitiveness. I know I've kind of gotten to look through the brackets here a little bit. Looks like we got a lot of teams who came in and really put their best foot forward during the ladder. So, I mean, I'm kind of excited to see as far as now that we get into the single elim. It's one thing to be able to come out and perform when you do know that you've got that next game available no matter when it is. But now that it's win or go home, a little more stakes on the line, it's just a best of three. So you don't have too much time to be able to feel out the opposition before making those adjustments as well. So starting off with a 1v2 should be a lot of fun here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess you can think of it as whoever comes out of this does have a slightly easier bracket, though. With how rematch has kind of been towards the top end of things, we have seen some upsets. We've seen some teams do some incredible things from lower seeds. So I certainly wouldn't call the tournament after this first matchup. That's all I'm going to say. But it is, as you mentioned, a single elimination bracket. So it is win or go home time. I believe everything's going to be best of three throughout the day, and it's one of those types of things where teams are kind of coming into this again. It is a beta, so we haven't been playing the game for that long, especially with the long interim between last beta and this one. So it's going to kind of come down to which team can kind of fill their fill the roles that they need to fill and build that momentum early on in a series.
Yeah, I can't remember whose stream it was that I was watching earlier during like the latter portion, but they were making pretty good points in the fact that since it is so new, everyone's still kind of trying to figure out their strategies here. So still could definitely
Oh,
be
yeah.
seeing teams trying to figure out exactly what their best course of action is once they do get to take to the pitch, and that also does mean that teams not maybe as consistent as what, let's say if we were 2-3 months in and teams have had a lot more time to practice. And I think that does even that playing field, like you were talking. This might be the 1v2 here at the start of things, but who knows, as the day goes along, maybe a team gets hot at the right time and is able to ride that wave until the end.
Yeah, and again, there are so many teams that we could talk about too, but the first two teams that we are getting into, Team Penguin and Yaish FC, again, they topped the charts in the latter portion. And you take a look at these two teams and the members of the teams, and again, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a who's who of North American rematch, but there are certainly a lot of names that a lot of folks will know, and that adds a little bit more excitement because we are, we're trying to figure out who's sort of kind of essentially you don't get another chance at a beta, right? Like this is a
Right.
chance to be a champion of a beta, and there will never be other champions after this beta is over, which is like a kind of a cool thing to kind of carry with you into the full release of the game.
You also figure that if you are one of the teams who is able to walk away with a strong performance today, that already starts to put like a crosshair on your back as we do move into the full release and more events to come. Right now, you mentioned, yeah, teams definitely we can look towards who are more notable through the beta, but still feels like when you talk about expectations, I feel like expectations still have to be pretty well like clear here for both teams. It's got to be more about really coming out and playing your game versus trying to I guess what you would say would be set up a game plan based off of what you've seen from the other teams. Both teams making their way through the latter stage, only dropping 2 matches. So it should be a goodie here.
Well, I know we're trying to get this matchup on your stream here in just a moment, folks. Sorry for the delay again. We're just dealing with some issues in the background, but you know, I think when we're talking about North American rematch specifically, right, which is why we're here, why we're doing this right now, we haven't necessarily seen like I think the original betas or at least the alpha playtests and things were kind of more focused towards the European crowd, more focused towards like Brazilian and South America regions, and we haven't really seen a big gathering of North American teams. We've done a couple of tournaments. Obviously, Bestie and Slot did one last beta period as well. So there's still a lot in my mind up in the air because I haven't had a chance to watch all of the best North American rematch players sort of all in one spot, really ever up until this point.
Yeah, definitely feels like this is going to be a really good chance for, a bunch of players to really kind of have, I guess you could say their coming out party, so to speak, just due to the fact that we haven't gotten to see so much go down in North America. Not only when you talk about being able to put your name at the top when it comes to competitiveness, but I do see that we've got, a couple of streamers here as well, able to make a name for yourself when it comes to full release, try and build yourself a little bit of a kind of carve your spot in the community here as well. So a lot on the line, I would say, for these players. And at least from a little bit that I've gotten to check in on as far as during the ladder, it seems like a lot of players are revved up and ready to go. I think the hype is most definitely real. I think when it comes to the gaming scene right now, a lot of people wanting something new to sink their teeth into, and especially when you talk about a sport game like Rematch here, I think a lot of people are super amped for it.
Oh yeah. I mean, this game just it from a perspective of somebody who's been in the industry for so very long, this game just has so much potential. It's incredible with how many players have been playing, with the incredible support that the developers have been giving to the players and to the community so far, and everything that they are working towards to get this set up and ready to go. And I personally would love to see. I mean, I would love to see some form of gathering of the best teams in the various regions because it's so fun to watch. I mainly cover EU and North America. There is definitely a big scene in Brazil, like I said, and North or South and Central America as well. And I would love to see a gathering of all the teams on level footing, as it looks like we are underway with game number 1 between these two teams. So again, this is the top 2 seeds in the bracket, Team Penguin versus Yaish FC, and we are underway as an immediate opportunity, an immediate goal. That was a very early strike, and it looks like, actually, I can't tell who's on which team. I think it's Yaish FC who scored that goal.
Yeah, I do believe that was Yaish who was able to make the play using actually the top of the backboard there to be able to kind of get that redirect. I feel like we've seen some players really being able to utilize that to their advantage. Instead of just expecting a quick shot in, you're able to get that bounce off, and it kind of opens things up for you. So not even 30 seconds in, we see our first goal. Now it will be up to Team Penguin to try and see if they can find some way to respond.
Well, let's see what Staz can do trying to quarterback the team up to this point, as it does look like, it is Team Penguin who is in the salmon and yellow, and then in the white and gold, it is Yaish FC. So Team Penguin leading by 1 at the moment, who were the top seed. They did decide to pick this matchup, and hopefully for them, it will work out in their favor. But I have a feeling that this Nagao-led Yaish FC not going to go down without a fight.
definitely not going to go down without a fight, but you do got to say, to be able to come out and say, hey, you know what, we want to go up against number 2, and to be able to find yourself in the lead relatively quickly, you got to be feeling good. And we did see, as far as when Yaish was able to take the possession, it wasn't very much as far as pressure towards the middle of the field. It seemed like, at least right up off the rip, the defense here from Team Penguin seems to be on lock.
I tried to just buy some space for the offense right now is Staz. Has Nagao drifting towards the front of the box. It's going to be Pauly Walnuts, who will be the keeper for Team Penguin throughout the day. Certainly a player who has had plenty of experience in competitive matchups here in North America. Karasu now, again, over to Moving Galaxy. Has the captain in Nagao across the box, but the shot blocked. Pauly Walnuts going to play this one away. So 4 minutes left. Game number 1, still Team Penguin up by a goal.
We know we had mentioned earlier how Yash wasn't able to find much pressure. This time around, they are keeping a decent amount of possession. Shot is going to ring up off of the post, but off of the rebound, Yash is going to be able to keep that possession here. So more time spent for them, as they are going to try and figure out as far as what approach works best for them. I like to see the patience and being able to pull things back towards the midfield line, allow for the offense to really be able to set things back up. But as far as the defense from Team Penguin, they continue to stand tall here.
Yeah, nice pass from Peter Deity to Stolly. It'll be Huleni, is a player I have not seen before playing in goal for Yaish FC. So far, so good. Did make that stop to try to keep this one close. Is Stolly going to challenge Staz? That will be returned back to the safe hands of the keeper, as he will take over the quarterbacking duties for now. The feed over to Staz. Has Karasu down the wing. Opts to look for Moving Galaxy, but it's just out of reach. As Peter Deity got to play it up to Stolly, and now it's a 1-on-0. Can Staz make the play to try to keep this game within 1? Stolly, wow, very slow, taking it. I don't know what his thought process was, but Moving Galaxy absolutely shuts that down. Staz will have to make the save, so they live to fight another day here.
I think was hoping that by pulling things back, maybe going to be able to find one of the teammates kind of streaking down the middle of the field, but the defense doing a great job of staying on top of both of those players that were moving in to potentially find themselves a passing kind of reception to be able to put a shot on goal. But another visit down onto the opposite side of the field for Yaish FC, and well, it's only going to be a quick one. Solly's going to have another opportunity right outside of the box, but instead opts for the pass, which is an interesting strategy. We've seen them be able to get this ball deep inside the territory, but neither time opting for the shot.
Yeah, interesting method from Stolly. Again, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Looking for the pass, not the shot, as that's going to be rejected right back to Pauly Walnuts, who is quite a ways away from the cage. And now the return pass over to Stolly. What does Stolly have from the top of the box? Feed inside. Peter Deity was there, but it will be taken care of, as it looks like there's been a keeper change for Yaish FC here, as that's dangerous. Nagao had to come across the line and clear it away, and it will be bombed all the way down the line. So 90 seconds left to go still here in game 1. Peter Deity wants to make it 2, but it's just out of reach.
That was a good opt for the pass. It was almost on target to be able to allow for a very quick shot, just a little too far out of reach. And as much as it did look like we were going to see Yaish be able to kind of flip the pitch and flip the script, it is a little bit of a slower approach. The back pass and now sent into that deep corner. Potential crossing play, but that one not going to quite find its mark.
Oh man, the pass is so good from Yaish FC, but maybe one too many passes that time. Looked like Nagao had a chance at a shot, but opted for the pass. It was out of reach of Karasu, as Kyler is going to go around Moving Galaxy, and time will continue to tick away. It's Wiki in the corner. The pass back to Kyler. 40 seconds left to go. Off the back wall, Stolly scores. And that's going to be a 2-0 lead with 40 to go.
I gotta love the play, the alley-oop up off of the backboard, and I mean, just a nice follow-up shot as well to be able to drill things home. 2-0 and a little bit less than a minute on the clock as far as remaining here. 39 seconds to be exact. They need 2 if Yash is going to want to tie things up.
And they're going to need one really quickly. With how the kickoffs work in this game, it's very easy to burn 10 seconds when you get the ball off the kickoff, as this is one that's going to bounce for Wiki to play, and he will continue to kill time. 23 seconds left. There's the pass back to Pauly Walnuts, and the clock continues to run. Staz wanted to turn it around. Instead, It's out to Pito Deity. Can they make it a 3-0 game before a clock expires? It'll be Stolly across the way into the waiting arms of the defender. But that is going to do it for game number 1. It will be Team Penguin who takes the first game, and they're 1 game away now from eliminating the second seed.
I feel like they did a really good job of not only finding that early goal, but even just throughout the course of the rest of the game, their defense doing a pretty good job as far as limiting the opportunities from Yaish FC. Remember, this is the team that came in as the number 1 seed, opted to go up against the number 2 seed, and well, they've been able to come out in dominating fashion. It's a 2-0 lead, and like you mentioned, 1 game away from moving to top 8.
And I mean, not like I said, not just moving to top 8, but you take out your biggest competition in the process, which I guess was kind of the strategy for Team Penguin. And, but I'm not going to count out Yaish FC that quickly, right? I mean, they got down early, and then they were kind of playing from behind that entire game, just couldn't quite break through the defense. I think if they can score the first goal here in this game, they can easily make this a 3-game series.
Definitely feels like putting themselves in the driver's seat would definitely be the best thing to do here. Big pass up the field, not quite going to find its mark, and now all of a sudden it is a breakaway going the opposite way. Ball will get kind of buried into this corner, though. It will allow for the defense to adjust, and that shot sails wide. Unfortunate for Yaish because it felt like that was a good opportunity to put themselves up.
Yeah, Moving Galaxy is going to want that one back. That needs to be on goal, or at least force the goalie to think about it a little bit. The ball was well wide as Nagao tried to play it across. Instead, it's going to be Stolly able to take possession and look to move up the pitch here. Moving Galaxy rejects that one. Stolly rejects it right back. He left the ball behind that time. So it will come back to Staz, who now wants to play it forward, but a bit of a giveaway here. Wiki's got some space, looking for Stolly across the way, but instead it's Staz up to the challenge.
Staz finds the save for sure, but the question becomes, can you flip the field here now? Yaish had that very early look, but we had mentioned during the course of game number 1, it felt like Team Penguin did a pretty good job of maintaining the possession towards the middle of the game. Here will be a picking of the pocket, shot fired on, but it'll be a save there by Wally Walnuts, and that's going to at least keep the things tied up at 0 for now.
That surprised me with how hard that ball came out of there. It didn't look like there was going to be much power on that shot. Paulie Walnuts up to the task, because now Staz has to try to return fire there, and fortunately for him, Pito Deity didn't get a touch on it. He was in good position for that header. The header's certainly a strategy employed by a lot of these top teams. They can be so very difficult to read if you're the keeper, but we have seen teams improvising on defense, able to stop those header plays. And it seems like the meta always constantly shifting, as you would expect in a beta, but with 4 minutes to go, still no score. What can Wiki do here? That's a decent ball, but it's going to be behind Pito.
He is going to be able to keep the possession, though, for Team Penguin, at least for now. Wiki's in the middle of the box. Might be a nice place to look as far as for that pass, the shot opportunity. Header not going to quite find its mark, but Wiki will be able to keep the possession down here for Team Penguin. And remember, they are the ones who, if they're able to walk away with things here, able to move on to that top 8, another shot will be denied, and they're really testing Staz here early in this first half.
Yeah, 2 great saves. He had... The first one wasn't a catch save. He actually got just enough of it to punch it away. And then that second one, a header right in the box. That's a really difficult save. Huge from Staz. And now we'll see if he can set up his teammates. Oh, no, that's a big giveaway to Stolly. And he's going to be punished for it. Stolly with the first of the game for Team Penguin.
Your net's open. Unfortunate there. All you got to do is simply put that thing towards the net. Great job to be able to pick the pocket by Stolly. And then, as I had mentioned, all you got to do is put it towards the net. Nobody there to be able to prevent it. Team Penguin have the lead. It's 3 minutes away from advancing to top 8.
Yeah, this is dire straits right now here for Yaish. They need to find some offensive attack that works for them. They still haven't scored in this series. They were shut out in game 1. And right now, they've posted a goose egg up to this point. We're over halfway done with game number 2. We'll see what Karasu can do with some space in the corner. He ends up beating out Pito Deity. It's going to be a play over to Moving Galaxy. Rebound, but right into the goaltender. Paulie Walnuts makes the play. Nagao, great block, though. Going to keep the pressure on. Can he find some space? Instead, it's going to be Stolly over to Paulie Walnuts, and that one will be cleared away.
Nice job by Stolly to be able to take the cookies and take the possession back here for Team Penguin, as it's now 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to play. And you had mentioned earlier how easy it is to burn the clock. Give and go. Shot in front of the net, but that will be denied by Stas.
I don't know how Stas got enough of that. Stolly actually with a block, or maybe the pass was a little errant there. But either way, it is going to be Yish FC moving downfield. 2 minutes left to go. Moving Galaxy has two players in the box. Going to look for him off the back wall, but it's right into the hands again of Paulie Walnuts, who has been big for his team in this series so far. Oh, no, big giveaway.
Oh,
he makes the save. He gives it away, and he takes it away.
talk about giving almost like that false sense of hope, able to find the big save. And now at this point, looks like okay with sitting back in their defensive half, almost expecting Yish at some point to have to try and assert themselves forward. But even that 7-10 seconds, it's more time that dwindles away. It will be a potential shot by Wiki. Instead, it's a pass, a header on in, and Team Penguin going to go up by 2.
And I love this. I love this patience by Wiki. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see it, but the patience by Wiki to allow the defender to come to him opens up that tiny bit of space behind the defender and in between the defender and the netminder, and it was a perfect pass right on the money for Peter Deity to find that goal, make it a 2-0 game. And now if Yish was in a tough position before, this is an absolute mountain to climb.
You can see they're trying to pull things up and switch things up. It's a quick transition of the field. Nice shot put on target here as well. The lead has been successfully cut in half.
Yeah, that's an important one. They needed that one with time left on the clock, and they've got it, but there's just still not a ton of time to mess around here. You only got 63 seconds.
I was going to mention they were switching things up. Stas had been brought out of goal, and granted, sitting back on the defensive side, but gives them a little bit more freedom to push up the field and not have to worry about leaving that goal wide open like we had seen earlier. Wiki should be able to get to this ball here and maintain the possession here for Team Penguin. Stolly shot. Oh, it stopped on the goal line by Stas.
That was probably as close of a save as you're going to have in this game, as right now Peter Deity still wasting more and more time. It's going to be back to Stolly, and time is ticking away. 30 seconds. Team Penguin trying to kill off this remaining time. Yish FC hasn't had possession, but they might get it now. But Paulie Walnuts just takes it away. It looked like an opportunity, and now Wiki to drive the stake through the heart of Yish FC. Instead, is going to play it all the way back, although it might have been a giveaway. Moving Galaxy is there to try to make the play, but it's back to Paulie Walnuts, and time continues to tick.
Not gonna lie, the back pass had me a little concerned as it did cause a turnover, but Team Penguin going to be able to withhold. It's 2-1, last shot here as well, last opportunity. And yeah, there it is. Team Penguin advanced to top 8 in 2 straight games.
Wow. Congratulations to Team Penguin. They challenged the beast immediately, and they answered the call. That is certain. Only giving up 1 goal in those 2 games that they played, and that is the 2nd seed of the tournament, instantly eliminated in the first round by Team Penguin. So certainly have to watch. I think Team Penguin might be our favorites heading into this next couple of rounds.
Yeah, we had talked about how they had the potential to set that up by picking that number 2 seed, but to be able to control the game the way that they did, only surrendering 1 goal through the 2, and I don't want to say that 1 goal was lucky, but it was kind of a quick transitional play, something that can definitely clean up in rounds to come. It felt like otherwise, I mean, they just did a great job of being able to maintain the possession for the most part throughout the course of the 2 games.
Yeah, it was a great class there from Team Penguin. We'll see if they can continue their run through the bracket. We, however, are going to take a bit of a break. When we return, it'll be the quarterfinals here on your broadcast, so make sure you don't go anywhere. This is the Best in Slot, Extra Effort, and a Rematch tournament. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Extra Effort here, North American Rematch Tournament Hunted and Q on the broadcast with you. We're about ready to head into the quarterfinals. We've got a Total Football and Parlay Ego Kings, which to me, those names don't really mean anything, but it's more of the names on the teams that mean a little bit more to me. And this match looks like it's going to be a fun one.
This one should be a fun one. I know we were talking about it a little bit as far as in the green room. Obviously, too, the other thing is as we move on through this tournament here, we should be at that point where the matches will start. Well, I say should be getting a little bit closer, but I mean, when you think about it, right, we had the 1v2 to start things off. So, I mean, I guess how much closer can things really get? So let's go ahead and head down into it. Best of three. Let's see who's going to be able to come out on top between Total Football and Parlay Ego Kings.
Well, it looks like Total Football going to be in that red and blue, and in the pink. It's all pink for Parlay Ego Kings. We'll see what they can do with this one, as that's going to be Puffy out to Wallaby Gangsta. Has Kivista there with him as well. Nice pass across the box, but it's going to be Egg instead who walks away with that ball. So again, the keeper is going to play a pretty important part. I mean, that's just kind of how it's always been. What a beautiful pass to Dockett, who overruns the ball.
Unfortunate from Dockett. Had all sorts of green grass in front of him and only had the keeper to beat. It's going to be a nice shot that does come across from Dockett, but it will be saved. Now it's going to be up to Total Football to try and see if they can get some sort of semblance of offense, because here early it's their defense that's getting tested.
Some good passing from PEK, which has almost resulted in a couple of big chances. That's going to be another pass, but just out of the reach of Dockett. Wallaby Gangster able to play it on towards Puffy, as now Puffy goes off the back wall, and it'll be Egg who takes that one away. And we'll see if PEK can try to mount a bit of a counterattack here. It's been back and forth, but we haven't really had any terribly dangerous chances up to this point.
Yeah, neither team really being able to completely open up shop, right? You get one shot on one side of the pitch, then it's off to the other side we go. I really feel like in a matchup as close as this, the big thing that you're really looking for is one of these teams to truly be able to establish their offense. And at least through the first 2 minutes of play, neither team has been able to do that thus far. It does look like, though, as far as for now, Total Football going to slow things down, going to be okay with going and resorting to those back passes in order to then kind of flip the field and go back onto the attack.
You got Ratman Rob with a pass to Puffy. You just can't quite get that by the keeper. That's great reaction time there from Egg. Able to take away that bottom corner, as now Demon is through Ratman Rob, but Wallaby Gangsta turns it right back around. Here's the play all the way across the box. Kivista, what does he have here? There's a chip, but it's out of reach of anyone. That's going to be PEK. Back the other way. Demon now with some space, has a defender to beat, and tries to get it back to Dockett, but it's just too far.
Yeah, that pass just a little too far and ahead of the intended target. It does feel like another opportunity that kind of slips through the cracks here for Parlay Ego Kings, but Total Football will now have the possession, see what they can do with it. Felt like last time around, potentially missed that kind of streaking player down the middle of the field. This time, an early shot, not quite going to find its mark. A big clear will slow things down for now. If Dockett's going to be able to pick the pocket, though, has plenty of space and opportunity. 1v1, just can't quite deliver the shot they were looking for.
Yeah, good back check there from Kivista, able to get there in time to challenge the play, as that's going to be a beautiful pass to Wallaby Gangsta. I don't know how that ball didn't find the back of the net. Either way, it's going to bounce out to Puffy. That's a pass to Ratman Rob. Oh, he just missed it wide. I love the patience there, but he just couldn't get it on goal.
I like the idea. We'll give you an A for the thought. Unfortunately, execution not quite there, but you know what? It's okay for now. Still tied up at zeros, as we do now have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in game number one. And as much as it felt like early PEK was the team that was really establishing the pressure, here as of late, it does feel like Total Football has kind of flipped the script a little bit.
Well, Total Football has been a lot cleaner on their passing in the last couple of minutes, especially with PEK, a couple of big turnovers. So that's a nice little passing play, as Dockett just can't get by Puffy, as this is going to be a feed down the field. There's Kivista on the catch, but Kai recovering well, and it will be into the hands of Egg. So we'll see if PEK can try to clean up some of these passing plays. Again, that one just goes straight into the arms of Puffy. And now Kai, a great move around Wallaby Gangsta, relieving some of that pressure. And with 90 seconds left to go, still a 0-0 game here in game number 1.
Still seeing as far as from the side of PEK, you had mentioned how it felt like Total Football, a little cleaner on their passing plays. Another trip down onto this Total Football side that felt like should have been extended, but unfortunately an errant pass does give that possession back over to Total Football. Here's an opportunity from them. It's off the backboard, but nobody able to establish the control after that.
No, and a great takeaway there by Torify. He has Docket with him. Ratman Rob, nice. A wonderful sliding tackle, able to block that ball away out towards the keeper. It will be Barcode to pick things up. We're a minute away from extra time here in game number 1. Let's see what Demon's got on his mind right here. Has 2 players out in front, and it's Docket who takes the shot right into Barcode, who will say thank you very much and keep it a 0-0 game.
Wallaby Gangsta will now receive this pass, and we'll wait for the rest of the team to kind of set up shop here. You can see Puffy moves up into that offensive half. That pass, however, will not quite find its mark. Kai will be able to send things back, and now it will be PEK who is looking to set up some offense. Ball taken away here, but will be reestablished, and with 18 seconds left, it feels like this could be the possession to find it. Nice pass through, but again, a pass that's just a little too far and ahead of its intended target.
Oh no, Wallaby Gangsta, not the touch he wanted. It's still dangerous, but Barcode able to clear it away. That was a bit scary, and now back the other way. Kavista with a shot. Oh! It sneaks through the keeper, and it's Total Football who walks away 1 second into overtime.
Kavista able to find the game winner just as we move into extra time. There was a big booming pass from the defense up the field, opens up the opportunity, and Total Football take game number 1.
Wow. Really great stuff there. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, again, there was like a bit of a blow up on the defensive side for Total Football, and it looked like they almost conceded the game-winning goal to the opposite side, and then all of a sudden they get a semblance of possession, and it's a beautiful pass up to Kavista who ends things out right there. I wish we could have seen the replay on that goal, though, because Egg seemed to be in good position, just maybe got caught up a little bit and couldn't quite make the save.
Gotta give a big shout out to Puffy, though, for being able to make the play. It's a big touch up the field, and as you had mentioned, after a play that felt like it kind of broken down a little bit, to be able to keep the composure and then go right back on the attack, I think really speaks measures for, I guess, the composition and the cool, calm, and collect feeling over on that Total Football side, who, through the course of game number 1, felt like they were the team putting together more clean possessions.
Yeah. Again, I think my point kind of stands. Even through the end of that game, it just felt like Total Football a little bit cleaner on the passing. There were still some mistakes, right? I mean, a couple of takeaways that probably shouldn't have happened from Total Football. Luckily, though, they were able to clean them up. You got to give credit to Barcode, some big saves in those couple of the last couple of minutes there. And I mean, if they can keep playing this way, it's going to be a little hairy towards the end, but I like the team play from Total Football. However, all of that being said, Parlay Ego Kings definitely seemed to be in that game. They just needed that spark, right? They needed that one opportunity that really kind of pushed them over the edge, and they never quite found that.
And they definitely had the right thoughts in mind. We saw a couple of crossing passes that were towards a player that were streaking towards the net, and just unfortunately pass going a little bit errant or a little bit too far ahead of that player that was intended. Otherwise could have been leading to some nice shot opportunities. So I want to see them continue looking for those plays, despite the fact that they weren't necessarily able to be successful in that regard, because it did seem like they at least had the right thing in mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll see what adjustments get made. Again, this is a best of 3. Everything's best of 3s. So, there's not a whole lot of time to make those adjustments, right? I mean, at this point, Parlay Ego Kings have 1 game to correct things here and try to save their tournament lives. But I don't think there needs to be like a big overhaul from PEK. Right. I think they just need... maybe it just comes down to luck. You get lucky once or twice and you're right back in the series.
It reminds me a lot of when you see teams. I think more in particular to basketball. It's like you don't get the shooter's role. You know, what I mean, you don't say,
Right.
"Oh, all of a sudden we got to switch things up," because well, you just didn't quite get the bounces. You didn't quite get the roles. I feel like they've got the right game plan. It's just being able to execute just a hair bit better is really all you need. Of course, easier said than done for us up here in the booth. You know what I'm saying? But it does feel like they were. I mean, literally on the verge. We saw there it was almost ended before overtime by Parlay Ego Kings, which I think the most important thing is you got to make sure that you keep in mind just how close you were so you don't get too frustrated with the end result.
Right, and I mean, you just it's this is one of those games where the game is so fast, right? Everything it seems like as a commentator, especially, it's hard to keep up with all of the action because there's no downtime, right? There's quick counters. The only downtime you really have is if somebody intentionally slows the game down. But you have to be conscious. You have to be in your mind, especially when you're one of the defending members of the team, that you have to be wary of your positioning. Even if there's some crazy, offensive play happening in front of you where the enemy defense is breaking down a ton, you have to put yourself in a good position to play that counterattack should that come your way, which is exactly what happened. That's why Kavista had such a big open area to take that shot to win the game. The defender just kind of lost his assignment in the rough there.
For those who are watching, if you didn't notice the scores switching at the top, we did switch sides of the pitch here, so it will be total football that will be working from right to left on your screen. Parlay Ego Kings moving from left to right on your screen. It will be a first opportunity shut down here by the Parlay Ego Kings, and now all of a sudden, if that pass would have been able to find its way to that player from Torfy there, you would have been able to move a little bit quicker. Hold on, it's a streaking plague defender, though. The goalie comes in and steps up in a huge way.
And that's a moment there where it's one too many passes. You have such a good opportunity. Take the shot as now Ratman Rob looking to take a shot. He's just going to bang it off the back wall. Really didn't have any support right now as Kavista able to look for a pass. And Bobby Gangsta is there to slam it home. So Total Football takes the first of the game, and they look to move on to the next round.
I didn't get a chance to mention it, but this was the one thing I was worried about for Parlay Ego Kings. You were able to go neck and neck throughout the entirety of regulation. You allow a last-second goal in overtime. The last thing you really wanted was an early goal here. So Parlay Ego Kings need to step up in a big way here, especially with time starting to run low. Well, not low, but starting to obviously dwindle down.
Well, it looks like we had a disconnect. I think it was Kavista who DC'd, so I believe the teams are going to try to sit this out and wait for him to rejoin. So apologies for that. But yeah, I think ultimately I think I agree with what you're saying, as it does look like maybe are we getting a restart? May be the case. Yeah, everybody's leaving. So I would imagine we're getting a restart or something. I don't know. I'm not an admin. I'm sure they'll tell us what's going on, but so anyway, sorry about that, folks. We'll get that game back on your screen here in just a moment. But assuming that goal stands, I don't see why it wouldn't stand, but assuming that goal stands, let's just assume that it's 1-0 with like 4 minutes left. Now is the time, I think, if you are Parlay Ego Kings, where you want to get the goaltender involved, you want to get sort of, use your numbers a little bit more, try to take a little bit more risk, because I mean, at this point, you have to score. You have to get something on the board. They haven't been able to do that yet in the series, so you've got to find something, assuming they're still down 1-0 heading into this next couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I like the idea of being able to get that goalie involved. Of course, when we think back to that first series, though, that we did watch, Hunted, I think we had seen as far as one of our two teams opt for that, and then unfortunately kind of got caught with that goalie a little too far extended as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a risk-reward sort of situation. You got to make sure that you aren't getting caught with the back end too wide open.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's risk reward for everything, right? And I think if you're a team that wants to win in this game, sometimes you just got to take risks. And I come from a background in hockey, right? I mean, that's a thing you see all the time: teams pulling goalies, having empty nets, and things like that. And it works, so that's why they do it. And I think this game, there is a special role I'd like to say the quarterback of the team, but really it's the player who brings the ball into the zone that can scan the entire field. And typically that's the keeper or a defending player. But there's a special role because of how strong balls into the box and like headers and shots right at the top of the box really are in this game. And you can play a ball into traffic, right? I mean, there could be 2 or 3 defenders in the area, but if your striker gets to it first, it's still a good opportunity. So we'll see what they decide to do. Ultimately, I'm just saying, if I was the coach of PEK, I want to get them activated. I want to get everybody involved offensively and try to take those risks to get a goal on the board.
It's interesting how things kind of work for PEK here, because you do allow that very early goal, but now you do kind of have a second to sit in calm and be like, hey, let's calm it down. Let's settle it down. We will have plenty of time here and figure out what that approach is, whether it is playing a little bit more aggressive forward with that goalie, or maybe even if it is just kind of upping the tempo a little bit, as far as you mentioned, playing a little bit faster potentially. And I know we had seen them have a couple of extra passes earlier in game number 1, but we've definitely seen them be able to move towards the right direction. You'll see we'll still have 5.5 minutes on the clock. They'll go ahead and make sure we get things set up for that first goal to kind of reset things on in. And let's get back down to it. Let's see if Total Football can continue working their way towards top 4.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to be playing straight away or are they going to be wasting time down. I think they're going to waste time down to whatever they determined. Right? Yeah, probably 4 minutes. Or okay, we're getting word that it's going to start at 5 minutes. So yeah, so 1-0 score for Total Football, who are in the white and gold. In the red is going to be Parlay Ego Kings. And now the game will begin anew. Thank you guys for sticking with us again. Beta and all of that. We're trying to get everything ironed out, and fair play to the players for remaking, as that was a decent opportunity, but Dockett just couldn't quite catch up to it. Nice steal there from Kai, but ultimately the defense gonna swarm to that ball for Total Football.
Still kind of back and forth. It's a tug of war around the midfield line here for now. Past the middle of the field here for Kai. It's a 3v2 opportunity. That pass, however, not gonna quite find its mark, and with that the keep will be able to pick it on up. We'll burn a little bit of time here as they opt to figure out which direction they want to go with things. It looks like it's gonna be a deep kick towards Wallaby Gangster, and well, they do have a player centered across the way. It's actually gonna be towards the middle. Puffy not quite gonna be able to find its mark.
Yeah, good save there from Egg. That's a big one. They really needed that one. Can't afford to go down 2 goals. As right now, Demon trying to play out of the corner. Ratman Rob is there defensively and walks away with the ball as well. And gets challenged immediately. Torify doesn't really have too much support, but as I see that, the pass to Demon off the back while he scores. Beautiful play from PEK off the turnover, and we're tied at 1.
Great job to be able to keep pushing forward as well. Find the rebound and punish it by sending another one towards the net. First save was successful, but a wide open net. And when the biscuit's in front of the basket, it's going to be good eats each and every time as we're tied up at 1.
Well, that's what we wanted to see, right? We wanted to see PEK get aggressive, win a couple challenges, find the back of the net. Now they've got to play some defense. Great block from Dockett getting up there to reject that one from Kavista. As right now, Torify around Puffy. It's a 3-on-2 essentially here, as this is going to be over to Demon. He just missed it wide. And Barcode will say thank you very much. So we are approaching halftime. Game number 2, a tied score at 1.
Let's see what now can our Total Football squad do as they look to go on to the attack. It's off the backboard. Will be a quick clear. It's all the way down to the other side of the pitch. And do keep in mind, with game number 1 having gone in favor of Total Football, they'll be okay with the tie game here. Whereas when you look on the other side of the field for Parlay Ego Kings, it's like, yeah, you're in the game for now, but one mistake could all of a sudden have you on the verge of being eliminated here in top 8.
That is most certainly true. I'm sure the player is not going to want to make that big mistake, but I think the same can be said for TF not wanting to make the mistake that forces a game number 3. We'll see how the defenses decide to play things out as the ball bounces between keepers with 2.5 minutes left to go. Dockett going to try to set things up for his side. Kavista, nice challenge there. Ratman Rob's going to get to it in time. I don't know what Puffy's going to really be able to do from there, and that will actually go right back to Kavista. It's a bouncer in the box. The shot again will come down but nobody able to get it on goal.
Just ripping shots forward, trying to send it off the backboard. See what that can open up from there. That back wall can sometimes really be your best friend as it kind of makes things a little bit more unpredictable as far as what the follow-up play happens to be. Wallaby Gangster will send one in towards the box, but the defense quickly will send it back towards that total football side. We're at a minute and we'll call it 45 seconds here left, and we're still tied at 1.
Ball into the corner. Ratman Rob and Kai argue over it for a moment. Good block from Kavista, but Kai walks away with it. Puffy trying to challenge Torify. It'll end up on the boot of Docket, and we'll see what Docket can do. Oh, a bit of a errant pass that time. As Puffy over to Ratman Rob. Has Kavista on a run. Not too much space to work with, though, as Kai with some pressure. The ball into the box. Docket rolling through the area, trying to make the defensive play. Puffy now towards the net, and that's an easy one for Egg. So we will continue to play on. We're approaching the final minute of this game. Again, it took 1 second of overtime in game number 1. Will we see OT again?
Yeah, quite anticlimactic, wasn't it, going into just an extra second into game number 1. Surely Parlay Ego Kings would prefer to avoid falling into a similar situation where extra time is needed. As far as for now, though, Total Football will be able to keep the possession. It's Wallaby Gangster who currently has the ball for now. It's going to be sending it in toward the box. It's off of that back wall, but again, the defense doing such a great job of coming up with it, sending it down to the other side of the field, and now it's 30 seconds left to play.
And I mean, the defense is doing great, that's for sure, but how many times have we seen this ball just bounce right into the hands of Barcode, and he's able to send it right back to the waiting attackers, as right now Puffy trying to find Ratman Rob in the corner. There's a chip play, but it's not going to be hard enough for Wallaby Gangster, and now it's going to be Torify with a little bit of space. He's got Puffy to beat, going to run it all the way down into the corner. The shot over the net, going to be cleared away by the defense. And we are in overtime here in game 2, over the minute, or rather over the second marker. So a little bit more OT required this time. Here's Ratman Rob back towards the corner. But this doesn't look to be too terribly dangerous. A lot of defenders in position. Puffy takes the shot, and Egg with the save.
There it is. Now it's going to be possession over here for PEK. The question is, are you going to be able to move this ball down and actually set up shop down on that Total Football side? It will be Demon, who currently has the possession, looking for a pass towards that deep corner where it is going to be Torify, but they'll lose the possession. Shot comes across from Demon, and it's saved.
Yeah, big save, too. Important save for Total Football. That was really PEK's first gasp on the offensive side in quite a while, as Kai trying to win the challenge there over Kavista. Demon will maintain possession. Nice little move, but can't get around Ratman Rob. Kavista with possession now. 2 defenders beaten, but the pass is behind. Nobody there able to make the play, and they'll send it all the way back to Barcode. So, yeah, it looks like PEK really starting to settle in defensively, but I don't know. I mean, you can't win the game if you can't play offense.
Of course, one shot is really all it takes to be able to send things off to that game 3. Maybe something have a nice little thought in the back of the mind for PEK, but I do have to agree. It feels like they got to find some way, somehow, to really be able to establish a sense of control when they do enter into that Total Football side. It'll be a big booming clear again, once all the way down to Barcode, and it's starting to turn more back into that tennis match. It's back and forth around that midfield line. Let's see if PEK can establish a possession here.
Oh, Demon can't get the challenge on Ratman Rob. He's going to try to chase him down. Ultimately, it's Ratman Rob who will sky it over the box, give Wallaby something to run into, and now it's Kai with the win, but the ball remains in the corner. Kai trying to maintain possession on the way out. Wallaby going to challenge over to Docket. Docket dealing with Wallaby Gangsta, who's had a very aggressive forecheck, if you will, on this play, as it's going to be Torify now, maybe in a 3-on-2 if he's quick, but the ball again just out of reach of the players, although it's taken back by Torify, played into some space for Demon. Demon, what can he do? It's going to be a feed to Docket. The rebound is going to bounce out. Docket will maintain some possession. Nice little move. He's beaten 2 defenders here, but it's played away by Puffy eventually. One too many moves that time by the attack.
First saw a real long extended possession, it feels like, though. Down this total football side, it'll now be Wallaby Gangster, who's looking to go the opposite way. It's Puffy on the left side of the pitch, not going to opt for the pass, tries to go solo dolo, loses the possession, and now it will be PEK back on the attack. That big deep pass, not quite going to find its mark, and that does mean that total football, I was going to say, should be able to grab it here, but this is a dangerous position.
Oh, what a
wow.
goal line. I don't know which defender that was, but somebody was able to clear it away on the line for the defense. That was a golden opportunity for PEK, as now Parcode has to hustle and play this one through. Puffy will just send it down to relieve some of that pressure, but PEK has flipped the script on the attack right now, really pushing for this game number 3.
Definitely feels like they've started to figure things out a little bit. Oh, it's off of the post from the header. Defender coming in. No, not quite going to be able to get the control. Demon with a second goal here in game number 2. And that allows for Parlay Ego Kings to send us to game 3.
And let's see how this one happens. Demon's there. Nobody can get the touch. The keeper overruns the ball. And we've got game 3. So, wow. I mean, this is exactly what PEK needed to do when we went to that sort of unintentional break in the middle of the game, right? Exactly what I said. Try to play a little bit more aggressive, get that goal, and they did that, and then they almost kind of froze up a little bit, or they said, okay, well, we can't lose. As soon as they switched off of that mindset and they said, okay, well, now we can win the game, is when they really started to look good offensively. They stopped sitting back so much. They started putting players forward, trying to win those big challenges. And ultimately, like I said, I don't think that goal was super beautiful. I consider that a garbage goal, if you will. But that's what you need to do. That's the areas you need to play in. That's the luck that you can make for yourself.
Sometimes you got to make your own luck. It's better to be lucky than good, I do suppose. It at least allows you to continue the series, again, especially with the fact that here for extra effort, it's a single elimination. So had that goal gone the other way, we have already been moving into our semifinals. Now for Parlay Ego Kings, you've been able to sustain, right? There was a very early goal from Total Football before we reset the field, reset the lobby, and Parlay Ego Kings just kind of slowly chipping away at things, eventually able to really kind of get into their bag. It felt like an overtime. Now the question becomes, are you able to carry over that momentum, that sort of game plan that allowed you to keep a possession for a majority of overtime and carry that in game 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big question right now is who is going to be able to come out and be aggressive early. I think that's a big key for me. Obviously, getting the first goal puts you in an infinitely better position than conceding the first goal. But even just beyond that, it feels like the team that maintains possession of the ball, who puts the pressure on, is the team that kind of controls the pace of play for that portion of the game. At least between these two teams, it's been that way. And PEK, when they control the ball, when they maintain possession, and when they push the pace of play, they look quite good. But on the other end of things, when it's Total Football who's making the moves and pushing that pace of play, it can be difficult for PEK to try to sit back and play defense.
Well, the winner of this game here will be moving on to play Team Penguin in that semifinal, who did walk away with a sweep against Karma in their quarterfinal action. So we'll see which of these two teams are going to be able to continue their tournament run for now. It will be Barcode, who shuts down that first initial look towards the net. Puffy will be able to keep the possession. It's a crossing pass as well over to Ratman Rob. I was going to say it might be losing the possession. Luckily going to be able to maintain it, at least for now.
Gavista with Wallaby in the box. It's cleared away by the defense, as right now Ratman Rob able to take advantage of an opportunity over to Wallaby. Shot on, good save by Egg, just got a piece of it. As Docket's going to try to chase this one down. Wins the battle against Kavista, but runs into Wallaby. Kavista now with time and space. Chip across, Wallaby shot forward. You give them some space, they'll make the most out of it. It's Total Football again on the board early.
Did you see that shot? It was a beautiful pass that sets it up, and Wallaby Gangster goes, I Pele! Drills that thing in the bottom left corner, and it will be a very early goal here for Total Football.
And now it's PEK, opportunity for them to show what they can do, to show why they've made it this far in the tournament. They need a goal to keep their hopes alive. Demon with a chance, had a ton of space, opts not to shoot. They'll try again. This time it connects. It's going to be Kai on the goal, so return fire immediately from PEK, and we're tied at 1.
You know, I was originally going to say I was surprised Demon didn't fire that shot, but I guess I'll just shut right on up, because the play ends up resulting in a goal either way. And just like the series score, tied up at 1, game number 3, tied in the same regards, and there's 4 minutes and 10 seconds left to play here, Hunted.
Oh man, another opportunity almost immediately for Wallaby. Whoa, blocked away by Kai. The rebound is saved out by Egg. What a great reaction from Egg there to read the block from the defender and get there for the rebound. Remember that one. Should PEK knock off Total Football here in this game? But man, we've had back-to-back OT matches or games here in this match. I wouldn't be shocked if we have a third.
Yeah, give me a third one, and you figure what, if we get past like the minute and 10-second mark, that gives us almost a whole extra game's worth of overtime between the 3, since we were at what, a little over, we were like 3.5 minutes of overtime, I do believe it was, as far as in game number 2. But as far as when we look at game 3 right now, I mean, both teams have definitely had some good looks. It feels like I got to favor at least a little bit from what we've seen from Total Football, because they've had a couple scary looks after that first initial goal. But it's kind of similar to how we had started game number 2, and we did see Parlay Ego Kings able to put themselves back into the right spot towards the end of the game.
Well, and this is the point of the game, where if you are a coach or if you are the team captain for your team, you're telling your boys here, all right, let's go out and win this game. Let's not sit back. Let's not try to not lose. Let's actively try to win. And I think the team who can really put the pressure on is going to be the team who finds this golden goal.
It was a dangerous pass. I thought Wallaby Gangster was going to be able to get to that one. Instead, it's still possession forward here for PEK. Wallaby Gangster will be able to put a foot into that one and takes the possession, but it's only for just a second, as we do see PEK still able to keep it down here on this Total Football half. It will be Barcode who's able to secure it, tries to quickly move it upfield to Kavista, but that pass ends up being a little too far. It allows for PEK to maintain the possession.
And back and forth, we bang the ball. It's all over the place. Eventually, we'll wind up in the hands of the keeper for Total Football. That's a pass to Kavista, but blocked away by the defensive Torify. Here's a play. Barcode able to find that read. So 2 minutes left to go in game number 3. Winner of this one moves on to play Team Penguin in the semifinals. The loser, unfortunately, will have their tournament lives ended here. Docket, nice pass to Demon. He missed it well wide. I don't know if he was trying to play it to himself. He's going to try again for Docket, and this time they connect.
Oh, just when it looked like, again, a opportunity that pulled short, they're able to find a way to make it happen. Playmakers make big plays, I guess, and a nice heady there to be able to drill that thing home. It's going to be Parlay Ego Kings with the lead with 1:34 left to play.
And I mean, what a turnaround after conceding the first goal in game number 2. It looked like things might be said and done where they stand, as what in the world just happened? Dorify steals the ball, sends that one through, and all of a sudden PEK's got a 2-goal lead.
That's a very quick turnaround from what was a 1-1 tie ball game not even 20 seconds ago, and it's Total Football who had actually walked away with that win in overtime in game number 1 that now has their backs up against the wall, and with 80 seconds left to play, that's really not much to work with here, Hunted.
No, I mean, again, just a complete reversal of fortunes. Right now, it looks like Total Football, dire straits for them. Here's a pass to Puffy. Good save from Egg, and time will continue to tick. They've only got a minute left to go to score 2 goals. They've got to get one in the next 30 seconds or so if they want a realistic chance here.
I feel like definitely want to get one on your next visit down. You can't really afford any more empty trips down on the opposite side of the pitch, but that also means you got to find a way to get the possession. It's a centering pass, but Barcode steps up in a big way. They're going to have to try and flip this field nice and quick here, as it will be Ratman Rob past one. Has Wallaby Gangster as well as Kavista kind of along with them on this side of the field. Shot comes across off of the pass off the backboard, and Puffy drills it home. That's
a huge goal. It's 32 seconds left now, and Total Football have life. with this pass across. You see Puffy, fantastic shot, able to beat the defender, and now there is hope as we enter the final half minute of this game. Dockett going to take the kickoff and try to buy as much time for his team as possible. Able to play it over to Egg. Puffy looking to challenge him. That's going to be a throw out here for Demon. Final 18 seconds. Maybe one opportunity for TF should they be able to grab some possession. Kai looking to keep control. Kavista on the challenge, can't find the slide tackle, and now Kai with 5 seconds left plays it all the way across. It's Torify. He's got to release the ball here. He's going to send it down to Dockett, and that's going to be the game. It's going to be PEK over Total Football. A huge comeback after dropping game one, and they will move on to play Team Penguin.
Not only dropping game one, but then they surrendered a very early goal in game two, which I feel like for a lot of teams could have been enough to really get you back into that, oh, here we go again sort of mindset. Instead, they dig in, they scratch and claw their way on back-to-back dubs, moves them into the top four.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them credit. No lack of fight from them, certainly. Again, I was saying, they hadn't scored up to that point. They didn't score anything in game one. They conceded the first goal in game two, and you kind of just feel like, oh, man, here it goes. It's going to be a quick two-game series. But they came back out after that mini break that they got, and they ultimately said, okay, we're going to buckle down. We're going to find that next goal. That's exactly what they did, and it just felt like they went one goal at a time through the rest of the series.
Able to play it one possession at a time. It just definitely felt like, we had mentioned after game number one how the looks were there. It's just at times the passes weren't quite kind of able to smoothen the edges out a little bit. I guess you could say cross the I's, dot the T's, however you want to say it. But a big win for them in back-to-back games. And, well, now they're going to be the team that does move on to play up against Team Penguin here.
That they most certainly will be, and we will take a quick look at the bracket when we return from the next break. We've got two semifinals to bring you, and then, of course, the grand final of this tournament. You're not going to want to miss all of that awesome action. This is Extra Effort here on the Bestie in Slot channel. Make sure you are following, because we will be back in just a couple of moments to bring you the first semifinal. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Extra Effort here on the Bestie and Slot channel. Hunted and Q back with you, of course. And now we are getting ready to start the semifinals. We are going to jump into the lower semifinal. Well, it's not lower. It's the one under on the bottom of the bracket. Vita FC and Gote 5 will be the two teams facing off in this matchup. Looking forward to this one again, looking at the rosters, a good number of players that have made their mark early on in North American rematch competition, and they look to do so again here in this best of three.
I feel like we've already kind of gotten what we were expecting as we go deeper into the tournament here as far as extra effort games getting a little bit closer, hoping that it continues to be that way. We've already seen our first best of three go the entirety of all three. We'll love to see it if we get both of our semifinals here to do the same. I do definitely feel like if there's one of the two matchups that I would expect that to be the case, it's got to be this one here.
I would hope so. Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see this one go the distance. I mean, you look at the quarterfinals, and 3 of the 4 matches went to 3 games, and you'd hope that they can carry some of that energy from the quarters into these semifinals. But rematch is one of those games, man, where it seems like a game can flip on its head in an instant, and that can be the same for a series. Like I said, with Parlay Ego Kings, it looked like they were down and out after that first goal in game 2. Game flips around, and all of a sudden they are in the semifinals. So, yeah, I would love to see 3 games, but you never know with this game.
I mean, we saw it was tied 1-1 there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was back-to-back goals, which did allow for the Ego Kings to be able to essentially put themselves in a position they were, I don't want to say coast to the finish line, because they definitely still had to make sure that they were keeping the pedal down, but comfortably able to find their way towards that finish line for sure.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, they're going to get a little bit of a break, right, before they play Team Penguin. So we'll have to see how they do against the number 1 overall seed. I'm definitely interested in that series. But right now, with Vita and Gote 5 coming into this one, I believe Vita is the 3rd overall seed. Yeah, they are. So technically, the second highest seed still remaining in the tournament. Well, not even technically, they are the second highest overall seed still remaining in the tournament. And right off the jump, we have a shot and we have a goal. That was an immediate goal 11 seconds into game number 1.
And Gote 5 able to find one here. It's Eclipse who's going to be the one to be able to bang things home. 11 seconds into game number 1. Talk about coming out and setting the tone.
Yeah, great way to take the challenge to this team, and Gote 5, from what I can gather, they were the 11th seeded team in that top 16. So definitely kind of playing up to their competition right now. We'll see if they can hang on to this lead, but they've got an opportunity. Bloop with a big save. The captain for the squad able to tend that one away. Here comes Butcher trying to make it a 2-goal game, but that will be shut down. And what an opening here for the guy that gets. Can he make this an opportunity? But it opts to turn around, had some pressure from behind.
Interesting decision to slow things down, as they did still have plenty of green still left in front of them. But as for now, it will be possession. And I thought Blob was going to be able to keep it alive. Instead, we go down to the opposite side of the field. It's Butcher on the counterattack. Shot high, rebound, bang. And just like that, Gote 5 going to be up 5-2.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate there from Dran, the keeper. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to see it. He just didn't quite read the initial shot too well. It wasn't terribly dangerous, but he ends up diving for it, and it pulls him completely out of position. So we'll see if he can clean that up. But that's an immediate 2 goals conceded here for the 3rd overall seed in Vita. And now trying to get something on the board, but just not able to connect on the passing.
You had mentioned how this Gote 5 squad was sitting. You said, what, 11th going in afterwards? Sometimes it's just about getting high at the right time, but it will be a very successful job by Vita FC to be able to take this lead and cut it in half.
Yeah, that's just a mistake. That's just a terrible mistake, unfortunately, by the defensive player to turn the ball over right there. You saw the follow-up keeper trying to make the save, but unfortunately, maybe a little bit of overconfidence there from G5. We'll see if they can rein that in a little bit. But hey, if you are Vita FC, that is a goal to get you back in this game. We'll see if they can find another one here as the guy that gets some wide open space right now overruns the ball just a little bit. We'll have to turn it around to XV. Still looking for the pass down to a teammate. Not going to quite find it. Is it? I don't know if it's XV or if it's 15. I'm not sure. It might be 15.
Yeah, I think that's 15, I do believe. Always kind of hard to tell, but it will be now going to be possession here aside for Vita FC. That will be picked up here by the goalie, and it was looking for a potential clear. Picked off, and now an opportunity right back towards the net that won't be able to find its mark.
Now Bloop trying to send Eclipse on a run there. Ends up getting rejected, but Bloop maintains possession. The pass over to Eclipse around the defender, looking for the hat trick. He's got it. What a play. Bloop on the pass, Eclipse on the finish, and it's 3-1.
What a play by Eclipse to be able to take the possession. You get past one defender, and then you just have the pass to yourself off of that back wall. It's 3-1. Of course, there is still plenty of time here for Vita FC to be able to surmount the comeback. A little over 3 minutes left to play, so a whole half here left. But the way that, we have been seeing Gote 5 be able to be successful on their offensive half, you've got to start being a little bit more successful on your possessions as well.
This is going to be a chip now for Blah to try to play back into the zone. It will be Butcher who has taken the keeper duties over for G5 for now. So maybe they do like to rotate keepers. Not often you see that in the competitive side of Rematch, but a few teams still like to run it as Blah has to make a big play there. And again, just no defense really seems to care about the guy that gets. We'll see if he can turn this into a goal. He's got a teammate with him. Nice move, but he missed it wide.
I like the patience to force the keeper out, but then unable to be successful on what should have been a relatively easy goal here. That's definitely one that you're going to want back, especially with the fact that you are currently down by 2. However, it will be XV who's going to be able to quickly get this possession back here for Vita FC. That guy that gets a give and a go, but that pass just a little too far away.
And Butcher able to get out there to scoop that ball up. 2 minutes left to go here in game number 1. Trying to end things out for his team. Nice takeaway there by Blah. Gonna play it up to the guy that gets. He's got Sinez sitting there across the box. Nice pass back, but Butcher not going to bite on it.
Right now,
we're just running out of time here.
Right now, if you are Gote 5, you've got to find some way to keep an eye on that player in the back. We've been seeing that guy that gets, I don't want to call it cherry picking, but it almost feels like it always is able to basically be able to lead the charge and has open space almost each and every time, and you cannot afford to allow for those easy looks anymore.
I mean, it's worked out for him so far. They've given up a couple of opportunities, but only the one goal. As right now, we'll see what Blah can do with some time and space down the wing. Eclipse sliding on by. Nice pass, but it is actually just a little bit errant there. Now into the corner for the guy that gets. Chip pass, back wall again, right into the netminder. That's going to be Butcher again, coming up big for his team. Final 50 seconds to go here in game 1.
Final 50 seconds, 2 goals needed here from Vita FC if they do want to be able to force an overtime. Of course, they got to find that first one. It feels like on this trip down the pitch, if they want to have a shot, that shot there just a tad bit high, and we're down to our final 30 seconds.
Oh, that's going to be a pretty big giveaway, though. Here's the guy that gets, has some space, but a big block by FT and a boom and clear as well. Right into 15, however. Chinez trying to find a little bit of a pass. There's the ball out in front, but it's just too far for Blah. He's got the goalie chasing and ends up giving it away, but the time ticking all the way down now. It's going to be G5 taking game number 1 over Vita FC. These two teams have never did meet in the latter portion of this tournament, so for the first time, it is going to be G5 taking the 1-0 win over top of them. But I don't know. I mean, a couple of big goals for G5, but it did feel like Vita FC had chances. They just couldn't capitalize on them.
It almost kind of reminds me of that first game of the last series that we watched, doesn't it? Where it's like the team that lost definitely felt like there were plenty of opportunities in order to, at minimum, send it to an overtime, if not even be able to come out on top. We saw multiple times where that guy that gets was able to get possession, move towards that net. It's just unfortunately, whether it was, I think we saw him overrun one, kind of slowed down for a second one. It just feels like on the verge of being able to pick up that second goal, just not quite being able to dial it in.
Well, again, I mean, they had chances, right? And if you continue to give teams chances to score goals, they are eventually going to score them. So we'll see if G5 can try to clean things up a little bit here. Here's another chance for the guy that gets. It's going to be one-on-one. Him versus FT, gets tackled from behind. And that will be FT able to make the play. So it's clear G5 is happy to allow these sort of one-on-ones between striker and keeper, as long as they are the team playing the keeper role. So I don't know, maybe that's just a strategy of theirs that they have. They're confident in their keeper, says FT has to make a big save. But through the first 40 seconds or so, a couple of good shots from VFC, but they haven't been able to score.
Well, at least have the possession here for now. It's across over to the other side of the pitch. 3 players down here on this offensive side, but nobody going to be able to maintain the possession. Butcher does a great job of poking that one away. It's Eclipse who had the 3 goals, passes it on up here to Bloop, pass across to Butcher. Ooh. That shot not quite on target.
Has a good header trying to beat Dran to that far side, but just couldn't quite get it in between the posts. And Dran will ultimately wind up with possession, trying to play it out. Needs to be careful, almost got challenged there, but ultimately gets it out to his teammate. The guy that ends up being challenged by Butcher. However, Sinez able to put some pressure on. That's dangerous from Dran. Is he going to get punished for it? No, 15 and Blah there, able to block that one away.
Able to rotate around and find someone still back in the box to be able to find the save. Now it'll be VFC, who's back onto the attack, was trying to find a way to use the walls, get past the defender. Not going to be successful in that regard. It's a big touch up towards Eclipse. The back pass shows the patience and the discipline, trying to go right back in towards the box with a pass. That one will not quite find its mark.
Yeah, and I like the ideas right now from G5, trying to make sure they maintain possession, even if it means a back pass from the top of the box or something like that. There's no reason to just send it into the keeper if you can hang on to it and put some more pressure, as right now Eclipse, the 3-goal scorer from game number 1. Nice move from the guy that gets. It's a 2-on-0 essentially. Here he takes the shot right at FT. No work required for the keeper that time, as he will play it out towards the Butcher. And man, I mean, talk about chance after chance after chance for the strikers from BFC. They just haven't been able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, you almost wonder if so many opportunities falling short starts to creep into the back of the mind for that guy for the guy that gets, because we keep seeing them have those opportunities towards the net, still being unsuccessful in that regard. Right now, though, G5 looking to try and set up some semblance of offense, see if they can keep the control down here on this VFC side. Not going to be able to do so, as it will be Butcher who will be able to pick it up and go right back on the attack. Big tackle, though, to be able to keep the possession and get it back here for VFC.
Yeah, that was a bit of a risky back pass. Luckily, Dran was Johnny on the spot, able to keep that one from crossing the line, as FT will make a big save there. Ping pong back and forth for the moment. Bloop going to try to settle it down. Has some pressure from 2 forwards, but able to play it up towards Butcher. Butcher taken away by 15. Bloop will take it away from him. Good block there on the back check from 15, back into the waiting arms of Dran, who sends it across to Blah. We are approaching the final 2 minutes of this game, and VFC still needs a goal if they want to try to send us to a game number 3 here.
And the good news right now is it is tied up, so not needing to be desperate in that regard. But hey, you know what? I guess it's going to be a caster's blessing from the boy Hunter over here. Sinez able to put that one into the back of the lace, and it's going to be a very nice goal here for VFC.
Yeah, and the first of the series, too. I mean, that one's got to feel good, right? Or not first of the series, I guess technically second of the series for them here. But I mean, first goal in a long time for VFC. That one's got to feel pretty good to finally find the back of the net. Now you're playing from ahead. You have an opportunity here to force game number 3, but you don't want to take your foot off the gas pedal, as this is going to be the guy that gets Hasblah across the way. The pass into space here. Got to have some time. Has some support. Bloop with a hard charge and somehow walks away with the ball. I'm not sure how that happened. Tries to find Eclipse, and it's over. 15. Eclipse takes the shot. Big save from Dran.
Big save to be able to keep that clean sheet alive for now. It's another 90 seconds. 15 has some space. Good pass here. Shot opportunity. Will slow things down. Bishop's going to be able to find a way to at least slow down that. A shot does come across, but it will be secured. And, well, now it will be G5 on the attack.
Nice ball to Eclipse, but Sinez just able to get up there to make the block. That was so important to get there before Eclipse could put the header on goal. As the defense is coming through right now for VFC. Here's another chance for the guy that gets. Can he capitalize on this one to make it a 2-goal game? No, it's Butcher able to cut that chance down. Final 50 seconds. Still a goal needed. Maybe a bit of a giveaway. 15 can't quite control it. This could be dangerous as Augelin out into the box, but it's an easy one for Dran.
35 seconds away from going into a decisive game number 3. The question is, do we see VFC try and find a way to double down their lead? Ooh. That shot rings off of the post. 25 seconds left as we now have a counterattack opportunity. Great
block, though. It still finds its way up. Blah's going to play it forward. The guy that gets wanting to buy a little bit of time. 15 back to the keeper. And we've got 10 seconds ticking off the clock now. Big block there. But it falls right into the waiting arms of Sinez, who will play it down. Butcher needs to find some control, and he will maybe give them one last opportunity. It's going to fall to Eclipse, out to Augie Lin. It's a 5-man attack now. Augie, great block from Blah, and he'll send it down the pitch for the game win. It's VFC nabbing game number 2, and we're going to have another game 3.
Hey, you know what? Give me all of the game 3s that we can get from here on out, baby. That's what it's all about, being able to see some high octane rematch action. And I mean, thus far, it's definitely delivered.
This has been it's been a fantastic tournament up to this point, and we've got so much more still to come. Obviously, we have this game 3 to do, but we have another semifinal, and then, of course, that grand final as well. And we are one game away from determining who's going to be the first of the teams to qualify into that final matchup of the evening. And it's going to be G5 who starts with possession here in game 3.
See what they can do with it. It definitely felt like we saw more control from VFC in that game number 2, whereas G5 had done a great job of pressuring the net in game 1. So it's all going to be about what happens inside these 4 lines over the course of the next 5.5 minutes, at least as far as for now. G5 looking to keep the possession, but it will be up the field, up to the that guy. I guess is going to be a pass to 15. I love to see the ball movement, but that shot will be denied.
That was a big save from Bloop, too. He just barely was able to stretch out there and make that save. And you got to wonder, for the guy that gets the number of opportunities he's had in this series, and the fact that he just hasn't been able to get the ball by any of the keepers here for G5. You got to wonder if that's affecting how he plays, as that ball bouncing in front of the box will be boomed away by Augulin. And you just got to wonder, the guy that gets certainly a premier striker for his team, but I mean, in kind of a bit of a slump right now. We'll see if he can break through.
Butcher's going to try and take the possession here for G5 and see if they can set up some offense down on this other side of the field. Was looking for Eclipse, who, of course, was that 3-goal scorer in game number 1. Unsuccessful when it comes to keeping the possession. Tries to keep pressure towards the keeper, but even with that, it will be VFC who's going to be able to flip the pitches. They look to go on the attack.
And the guy that gets is all the way across the box. Doesn't need him. Rocket to the top shelf, and it's going to be 1-0 in favor of VFC.
Oh, what a shot. You mentioned it, called it right. It was a rocket finding the angle from that shallow corner, and that is one that you'll love to see if you're a fan of VFC.
And we can't be having fans behind these goals if they're going to be shooting rockets at the net like that. Can't be doing that.
That is for sure. Here's going to be G5, though. It feels like for them, you would like to find that equalizer sooner than later, especially because it seems like as of late, they've been really struggling when it comes to keeping the possession down here on this VFC side of the pitch.
Well, speaking of, it's going to be Eclipse now to FT, and I mean, there's no time to debate this. If you are G5, you got to try to put some shots on goal. That one's going to get rejected away. We'll see what Eclipse does. Opts not to go back to the keeper instead. Plays it forward to FT, but that one's taken away. Sinez, though, does give it away. Augie Lin tries to find Eclipse, tackled from behind, and that'll be easy for Dran to scoop up and buy a little bit of time, potentially start an attack here for Vita FC. What a pass to the guy that gets. Can he put an insurance tally on the board? He's looking for a pass across. Instead, it's going to be blocked from the top of the box. And it's a 2-0 game.
You know, when we first saw that crossing pass, I wondered why it didn't go to the top of the key to Blah, but it eventually ends up there, and he absolutely buries this shot. It's now 2-0. G5 got to step up big here.
And that's just such a good feeling as a striker, too, when you see that ball bouncing into the space. You know you can get a good chunk of power on it, and you've got all of the net to shoot at, as Dran had to make a bit of a save there, and a big block will keep Eclipse on the ball, but Sinez able to reject that one. And G5, after such an explosive start in game one, 3 goals in that game, they have not been able to crack the code since then. They haven't been able to find a way to beat this defense, and they've got only 250 to do it twice.
That time will continue to dwindle away with each possession here. If you are Vita FC at this point, you do get that benefit of simply being able to play keep away. Every trip down here into that G5 side, even if it's a brief one, is what, 10, 12, 15 seconds that dwindles away. Time not of the friend here for G5.
No, it's definitely a ticking time bomb right now. If you want to continue playing, if you want to play into that grand final, you need something to happen here. Drain with another big save, and the guy that gets with another big opportunity. Can he make it 3? Off the back wall again, and he'll finally score. It's the guy that gets to shove the dagger through the heart of G5. A 3-goal lead with just over 2 minutes to go.
A huge goal here, especially with the time continuing to dwindle away. And right now, 2 minutes and 8 seconds is all that's left on the clock for G5 if they want to keep their run here in our extra effort tournament alive.
And not to mention, we're on mercy rule now. If Vita can score another one, they'll end it here and now and not give G5 an opportunity to come back. And it looks like that's exactly what they want to do. They want to send a message to the grand finalists that will meet them there. And we are not afraid to play from behind. We're not afraid to try to come from a game down, as Eclipse had a look. He just missed it wide. Butcher from the corner, blocked away. Bloop still gets a shot off. Tran, another big save. He's been clutch in these last 2 games after a rocky first one.
They have definitely been stepping up in a huge way. Has the goalie here, you mentioned Dran, for Vita FC. And now with 75 seconds left on the clock, the math gets a little bit more interesting here. It feels like you need at least one in the next 15, 20 seconds or so. Otherwise, the math just becomes difficult to math from here.
Well, let's see what Eclipse can do. He had the hat trick in game 1. He's been quiet since then. Was looking to feed Bloop, but it's going to be Sinez who walks away with the ball in the corner. Nice little move back to Dran. And the time does not stop, although good challenge from Eclipse, but he can't turn the ball on goal. Still some scramble in the defensive zone, but a big clear. And G5 moments away, unfortunately, from their elimination. Vita, what a fantastic comeback, I guess you could call it, in this series. After dropping game number 1, they've looked so good through the next 2 games, and they are 20 seconds away now from the grand final.
It just feels like they really were able to come to the realization that Eclipse is the main focal point of the offensive G5, and then being able to keep the clamps on them for the course of games 2 and 3. Big save here as well. We'll shut that one down from Eclipse. Final couple of seconds will dwindle away off of the clock, and Vita FC will be our first grand finalist for extra effort.
And not only did they come back after losing game 1 3-1, they come back with back-to-back shutouts to punch their bracket or punch their ticket to the grand final in the bracket here. That is a dominant display from Vita FC. It looked a little shaky. We were wondering if that number 3 seed was about to go out in 3rd and 4th place, and ultimately they will take a top 2 position here in the tournament. Really well done to them.
Well, they'll have to wait and see who it is that they're going to be squaring off against in that grand finals. Of course, that other semifinal matchup going to be coming up here next. It's going to be Team Penguin versus Parlay Ego Kings. I'm kind of hoping we can continue moving forward with these best of 3s going into game 3 because I've been loving the action. So make sure you don't go too far. We'll be back with that other semifinal matchup right here after the break.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Extra Effort here on the Bestie and Slot channel. Hunted and Q with you to bring you semi-final number 2. We've got a team in the grand finals. It's Vita FC. Team Penguin comes into this one sitting at the number 1 seed. Parlay Ego Kings not so high on the rankings, but they just took down Total Football in a couple of intense games there in that 3-game series. Can they knock off the number 1 seed and progress to the grand final?
Well, it's an interesting sort of storyline heading into this other semifinal matchup, because while we do see that Team Penguin comes in as that number 1 seed, they lost 2 games during that latter portion, and it looks like both of them being to the Parlay Ego Kings. That makes things interesting. Do they find a way to get 3 in a row, or does Team Penguin get their chance at redemption to get into the grand finals?
Well, they do say good things come in 3s. We'll see if that holds true for PEK here. As right now it's going to be Demon looking for Docket. as the Parlay Ego Kings in the white on your screen right now. In the black jerseys is going to be Team Penguin, as Dockett not going to quite find the pass. That ball is going to carry him all the way out towards the center line. Kai, quick chip into the corner. Dockett just can't quite control it. Wiki's going to be all over it, but he gets beat right there. Dockett trying to play it to Demon. It was a little awkward, but Polly Walnuts will shut the door, and we will have no score through the first minute.
Pass up to Stolly, who does have the possession, but it's left up on that opposite side of the pitch all by themselves. It will be Wiki who's able to keep the possession. Back looking for Stolly, but Kai steps into the passing lane. It's a big pass down to the opposite side of the field. Luckily, though, Wiki's able to stick a nose on in there, re-grabs possession of this ball, and now it's going to be PK back on the attack.
As Stolly waiting in the box here, Kyler opting for the pass back to Polly Walnuts. Ooh, Dockett nearly took that one away. That was a bit dangerous there from Polly. Is going to play it up to Kyler, though. Nice pass across. Pedo Deity fires and scores. Catches Egg napping and goes corner pocket there for a 1-0 lead.
Talk about a banger of a shot. You had mentioned Egg caught snooze in just a little bit. Finds a way to get to the back of the lace, and it will be an early 1-0 lead here for the Penguins, Team Penguins.
I'm not quite sure what was going on there defensively or with Egg. Unfortunately, though, he's probably going to want to have that one back, as now Wiki trying to head down. Nice pass to Pedo Deity. It is blocked away by Dockett. Chip across the way. Shot on goal, and it goes in.
What a way to quickly be able to double down the lead. This time around, it's Wiki who is able to punch it home. It's a pass that comes across, and Egg just not quite able to get there. It's 2-0.
And some tough play here for PEK. Unfortunate that they couldn't find some big saves when they needed them, but for Team Penguin trying to pick up right where they left off in that quarterfinal. They want to be the second team to qualify for the Grands, as right now it is going to be Wiki looking for Stolly across the way. Egg not going to be able to get a touch on it. Here's Peter Deity running into space. But the chip pass well behind any attackers. Still Wiki, though, with possession. Takes the shot. Egg this time with the save, taking him all the way into his own goal, but ultimately good enough to come up with the ball. Almost halftime here, still 2-0.
Oh, Egg's got to be careful advancing that far up the field, especially if you end up giving it over to the opposite possession side. Stolly fires it on target, taking up off of the post, but it will eventually be saved. It's a big clear towards the other way, as well as we do see it will be the Parlay Ego Kings trying to find their first goal.
Fortify, nice challenge, but Pedo Deity in the passing lane, able to take that away. And Team Penguin just playing a sound structural game right now. Able to break down the offense whenever it comes in, and they're finding the passing lanes here on the attack. Nice challenge by Kai, and now it's going to be a 2-on-0. It's Torify and Kai. Polly Walnuts has to make the play. The pass to Kai, and he just chips it on goal. I don't think that's exactly what he wanted.
Nowhere near enough oomph on that. Now it's a counterattack the other way. Stolly pass off the backboard looking for a Wiki, but Egg's going to be able to step on in and secure that one. To pass up to Kai. Pass across the pitch here as well. Looking for Torify. Pass off the backboard. Kai slams it home, and we got ourselves a ball game.
I think that's more of what he wanted from the last play. He ends up getting a lot on this shot right in front of the keeper here, and I mean, it's just a nice little play. They turn a turnover into an offensive attack, and using the back wall to good effect there. It can be really difficult to read that ball well, especially when you're trying to keep track of the play as the netminder. So smart play from PEK, but they've got an attack to defend of their own, and Egg's going to do that on the near post.
Starting to step back up and then being able to allow for this Parlay Ego King squad to be able to still stay within one. Polly Walnuts has the possession for now. Question is, which way do they decide to exit their defensive zone? It's two passes, and all of a sudden it's Stolly with the possession and looking to go on to the attack. Pass across. Wiki back up off of that back wall one more time, but the keeper shuts it down.
Needed that one too. Good play from Egg. Smart goalie positioning that time. But they just can't seem to quite get possession in the offensive zone. Here's Pito Deity with some time and space. Looks for the chip. It ends up bouncing out to Wiki, who tries to play it back. Will chase Pito to the edge of the box. Demon has to make a play. It's still there. Wiki has Stolly. Looks for the pass, but a big save. Egg able to keep his team in it, but is it going to be enough?
Felt like that was probably one pass too many, but who am I to say I'm the one sitting up in the box? You know what I'm saying? It will be a shot from Demon. Paulie Walnut going to be able to find the save, and it's still a 1-goal ball game for now.
Nice play, but Kai able to reject that. We're in the final 30 seconds here in game number 1. Team Penguin trying to hang on to this lead. It's been an all-out assault here from PK. Oh! And they get the equalizer. It's Dockett again out in front of the goal, chips it home, and we've got a 2-2 ball game.
Talk about a big transition play. It's a big touch up the field. Nice follow-up on the shot. And just like that, we're all knotted up at 2. And, of course, 22 seconds left. You could try and save it for one last shot here, potentially. If you are Parlay Ego King style, he overshoots it, though. It's off to Kai. Kai has some space, but that will be denied.
And he just left the ball behind there. Not quite sure what happened from Stolly, but fortunately gets bailed out by his keeper. Now Pito Deity wanted to rocket that one over to Wiki. Unfortunately, just a bit off the mark. Good play from Kai to get by Kyler, as right now Demon can't quite find the challenge on Stolly, but we'll get another chance. Just overruns the ball. Good block there. Pito Deity will have that taken away as well. Everybody fighting for possession now. Who's going to come away with it? It's going to be Pito Deity with a shot. Well, that one was pretty easy there for Egg. And now in overtime here in game number 1, a fantastic comeback yet again from PEK. Can they cap this one off and steal game 1?
Well, Team Penguin was able to find some early pressure, right? But unfortunately, Egg's defense has been able to step up in a huge way here in this back half and now into overtime as well. Clear goes the other way, looking for Dockett, but it does look like it will be Deity who's going to be able to maintain the possession, passes it back to Paulie Walnut, and as for now, it's still in overtime, tied at 2.
And we're a minute into overtime as well. Both teams not wanting to make that mistake. That sends them to game number 2 down by a game, as that's going to be a big clear from Dockett. It'll chase Paulie Walnuts all the way back to the back wall. And let's see what Paulie can do to try to set up some offense for Team Penguin. Nice pass over to Kyler. Kyler with space, but gives it away to Dockett. And now Kai going to try to go on a run. Paulie opts not to challenge. So let's see, does this bite them? Here comes Kai, back wall, but it's too far for Torify.
I like that idea, though, as far as from the keeper, realizing that Torify was going to be the next player that put themselves into the picture. You don't want to leave that back or that pass over to be wide open for a shot. Now it will be an opportunity, though, as it is Team Penguin who looks to try and find a way to set up some offense or try and at least get things going. But right now, PEK's defense steps up in a huge way.
They need another big step up that time. They looked like they came together to clear that one down. It falls to Paulie to try to play forward. Needs to be careful as he had Torify lurking in the area, but ultimately falls out towards Kyler. Kyler has Stolly waiting across the box. Wiki there in support as well. Still some nice moves from Kyler. Gets around Kai. The chip out in front. It's into the hands of Egg after ping-ponging around a little bit there. That was dangerous from Egg, and he might get punished for it. No, he just gets there to make the save. Oh, but he overruns the ball, and now the pass to Wiki. He missed Kai. Rebound into the hands of Egg. You've got to be kidding.
That's got to feel like one you really want back. They will still be able to maintain the possession as Pito Deity able to keep it alive in the offensive half for now. It will be Demon, though, who will look to seize the possession and able to at least keep it in their hand for now. It's a pass over towards Kai, but a great job here on the defense. And right now, Stolly picks the pocket, pass across the middle to Wiki, has an open field, bang, just like that. Team Penguin take game number 1.
Man, it took 3 minutes in overtime, and Team Penguin had a number of offensive opportunities to try to end this one earlier on. Ultimately, it was Egg who came up huge for his team, but he just couldn't quite make the play this time. You got to give credit to Solly and Wiki being ready to jump on that opportunity, and they most certainly did. You see Wiki with 2 goals in that game, Pete O'Deity with the third as well, and this was a pretty even matchup. Even though Team Penguin got out to a pretty early lead, PEK made it interesting, obviously forcing overtime, but it was a pretty back and forth, even game, I'd say, until overtime when it felt like Team Penguin kind of took over the game a little bit there.
Definitely saw there later on into the overtime that it felt like they had kind of locked into a different level to be able to walk away and secure themselves up a dub. But of course, the first game only means that you've got a lead in the series. We've already seen earlier on in our tournament here on the stream so far that doesn't necessarily mean that you are moving forward. Keep in mind, it was Parlay Ego Kings who did take down Team Penguin a pair of times during the latter portion. So maybe still able to hold on to the confidence and saying that, hey, we've been able to take down the squad before, but they need to do so now at this point, Hunted, in back-to-back games.
Well, if there's any time to get your first win over a team in the tournament, I mean, right now is the time to do it for Team Penguin, and they were just able to hang on. Again, it looked like they were shaky a little bit there towards the latter half of that game, but they managed to weather the storm. They got back into the driver's seat once they had that opportunity, and now I would say certainly they have the momentum heading to game number 2, but Parlay Ego Kings, you've got to say, just from our viewing of them on our stream, not just in that game, but in the previous match they played against Total Football, this is not a team to count out. This is a team that will absolutely fight tooth and nail until the end.
I mean, we saw him being able to find those back-to-back goals in order to force the overtime. Also, I mean, thinking back to that big clearing play that went all the way across the pitch and it did result in that second goal. Parlay Ego Kings has shown that they can really score from anywhere on the field. So Team Penguin definitely going to need to make sure that they're still kind of, locked in here because you cannot let your foot off the gas.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talk about it all the time in early starts to games and how important they can be, and this is just going to be another example of that. The team that can have the early start, who can get that first goal on the board, it just feels so much better to play from ahead, especially in a game like Rematch where defenses can be stifling. It can be very difficult to score goals. We've seen teams who are in the top 16, who are in the top 8, the top 4, who can't get goals by the defenses when it matters. So you don't want to be in a position to where you have to do that.
Right now, you do see as far as at least getting ready to head into game number 2. I think the game plan really has to be for Parlay Ego Kings to put themselves into the driver's seat. Remember, it was 2 early goals from Team Penguin that made Parlay Ego Kings kind of put themselves in a position where they had to scratch and claw. And while both goals were nice and definitely motivating, never really being able to play with that lead. So if they're again having to play from behind here in game number 2 in a single elimination for Parlay
That's
Ego
true.
Kings, especially with the fact that they know that in the past they've beaten this team, you don't want to have come this far or just to come this far.
Well, that's absolutely true, but sometimes you just don't have a choice. There are
Yeah.
some teams that are just going to be playing a little bit too hot to take on. And again, I mean, Team Penguin, we can talk about it all day, but ultimately they were the team who had the number 1 seed. They chose to play their biggest competitor in the number 2 seed, and they made it look easy in that series. And they haven't dropped a game as of yet, at least on our broadcast. Obviously, they you mentioned that they lost twice to Parlay Ego Kings in the ladder, but outside of that, they have been a very solid team, and they're looking to push themselves over the hump here into that final, where, again, Vita FC awaits after a pretty tough series they had. So, the pathway is there for either of these two teams, but it's definitely in the court of PEK to try to find game 2.
Do appreciate the patience here as we do get ready to set this lobby up for game number 2. You almost wonder, I think back to that first series of the day where we had seen a team suffer an L and then all of a sudden a little bit of a longer break, although that one was briefly into game number 2. But it did allow for the team to that did lose to kind of gather things back up and be able to make the changes that were needed. So who knows? Maybe that is exactly what the doctor ordered here for PEK.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the thought that a couple of breaks or a break during a series can, help level out the energy of the team, right? If you get down on yourself, it can be pretty easy to fall into that mindset of, we're just getting frustrated offensively, or we just can't seem to create opportunities like we've been, and if you can just kind of take a pause, and I think that's something. Obviously, we're in a beta; it's still very, very new, right? I mean, teams are even just figuring out how to play the game, but that's a role that a coach or a very good team captain can bring to a team. Is how can we settle the boys down? How can we make sure that they stay focused on the game, they make the right adjustments at the right time? And I said this about Parlay Ego Kings when they played Total Football. I don't think they need to change too much. They just need to get back into the game and get that lucky opportunity, get that bounce that goes their way. They almost had Team Penguin in game one there, ultimately fell apart a little bit in overtime. But if you can get back to that mindset of just play our game, good things will happen if we get balls towards the goal, then I think they can certainly force a game 3 at the very least.
Look, it's easy to say from the caster's booth. You can't afford to be able to fall behind by multi-goals, but I think especially when you are playing against the number 1 ranked Team Penguin here, that kind of has to be the mindset. Maybe if you allow the first goal, it's not necessarily the end of the world. They did show that resilience to be able to bounce back, but once you have to bounce back multiple goals just to simply force an overtime, that's where things get a little tricky. So let's go ahead and take to the pitch here for game number 2 and see if Parlay Ego Kings have the ability to send us to game 3.
Well, folks, here we are in game 2. If you've been enjoying the broadcast, please do follow the channel. Bestian Slot, fantastic organization. Big shout out to everybody involved in bringing this on your screens today. And, if you've been enjoying listening to both to both Q and I here on the broadcast, we would appreciate follows on Twitter. I'm HuntedCast on Twitter. Q, are you your boy Q on Twitter as well?
Oh, yeah, just about everywhere you can think of, baby. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, you name it. But I do got to agree. I would definitely love to be able to see some folks pop on in and say what's up. I've been enjoying my time thus far. This is my first look as far as from the caster view side thing of Rematch, and I'm already hooked.
This game is absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to see where it goes and where it grows. But right now we have a semifinal to decide as Demon looking to get the first goal of game number 2. Going to get that one smacked away by Pedo Deity. And at least right now, if you're PEK, right, you're not in a position where, I mean, obviously you have to score to win this game, right? But you aren't in a position where your backs are against the wall. You can kind of try to open the field up a little bit here. But as I say that, somehow that sneaks through from Kyler, and that all changes now for PEK.
Talk about busting out the protractor, able to find the angle here from this short corner here by Kyler, sneaks it right by the goalie, and Team Penguin take the lead. We had talked about it a little bit in the break between games 1 and 2. I don't think necessarily the end of the world if Parlay Ego King surrendered the first goal, but you most definitely cannot allow a quick second.
Let's see what Team Penguins got in store. What a pass, just out of reach from Stolly. I love the long-range team plays from Team Penguin. They work out a good majority of the time. That time it just didn't quite reach the attacker, as Kyler's going to play it back towards Polly Walnuts, who again has been the last line of defense, and he's been so very good for TP up to this point. It's going to be tough to try to crack that defensive shell that they've built for themselves, as Stolly with a challenge over Egg. The pass to Wiki, good save from Torify, gets back to the ball as well. Having to play a bit of keeper there, keeps his team in it.
I probably should have asked more towards the top of the game than when we're already over 2 minutes in, but hit me with it, Hunted. Do you feel like we see Parlay Ego Kings able to even up the series here?
Well, they're going to have to get something working here as Demon out towards Docket, but again, it's Polly Walnuts, and that's going to be the big thing. Can you beat the keeper? You're going to have a good play to be able to do that, but unfortunately, conceding that first goal, they've put themselves on a timer now, and they've only got 3 minutes, 15 seconds to find it.
Already quickly approaching that midway point here in game number 2. Luckily, a 1-goal game for now, but Kyler going to be able to pick the pockets, the pass over to Wiki, and Well, it's still a 3v3 down here on this PEK side. Very deep into the corner here, and it's more time that will continue to expire. And while it is just a 1-goal lead, the longer possessions here for Team Penguin will naturally start to apply more pressure to the Parlay Ego Kings.
Uh-oh, looks like Stolly might be having some issues there. There he goes. So Dockett going to make the challenge, looking for a pass out in front. Pito Deity not really going to be able to make the play. Here's Dockett trying to find a pass across, but it's taken away by Wiki. Torify on the challenge. Kyler and Kai cross paths, but Kyler will clear away. Here comes Wiki running down the pitch. It's a bit of a broken play a little bit now for Wiki. Still finds Kyler, but Egg makes the save.
Loved that run towards the middle of the field, and then a follow-up shot definitely adds more pressure as well. That pass over to the other side of the field, dangerous, I must say, despite the fact that no one from Team Penguin really pushed forward to be able to continue to apply the pressure. It's 1 minute and about 50 seconds left for Team Penguin. All you got to do is hold the line.
It's easier said than done in this game, again, with how fast things can change, how quickly balls can be played into tough areas. As right now, Kyler with a chance, and he scores. He won't make the mistake this time. Gets given a beautiful ball in front of the goal, and he's going to add insurance now to this lead. Team Penguin so very close to the final.
Talk about being able to still deliver despite the fact that you are playing a player short. Being able to double down the lead, the security blanket goal has to feel good, especially as we do head down into our final 100 seconds of play here, Hunted.
And I mean, it seems like Team Penguin has had more opportunities now when they've only got 4 players than when they had 5. I don't know how that's happened. Maybe some potential overconfidence or at least overactivation here from PEK. They still need 2 goals as Dockett. This one's going to dribble out towards Kai. He won't get there. Torify will maintain possession. He's got 4 players there towards the top of the box. It's going to be Pauly Walnuts able to make the save, able to play it clear. And we are in the last moments of this game. Will it be the last moments of the series?
And unfortunately for PEK, we did see Stolly was back unsuccessful when it comes to sweeping the leg as they are playing, well, as they were, I should say, playing a player short. So now back to the full 5v5. And for Team Penguin, they just continue to have to play keep away. Shot's going to be high. It's actually a pass off the backboard. Dockett's shot will be denied.
And they had a chance. Pauly Walnuts was a bit out of whack there with the dive that he ended up having to pull off. The ball hit the defender, but just couldn't quite get the shot on goal. That one's taken away by Pito Deity. 20 seconds left on the clock. They need a goal in the next 5 or so seconds if they really want a realistic chance of coming back in this game. But it's going to be Kyler in the corner. He's going to play it downfield. Team Penguin will continue to run roughshod over this bracket. Haven't dropped a game since we got to the top 16. And they will meet Vita FC in the grand finals. Can they make it a perfect bracket?
We'll see if they'll be able to complete that perfect bracket. I think the big thing that this series showed is, as close as game number 1 was, necessary adjustments were made in order for Team Penguin to, I don't want to say cruise in game number 2, but when you take into account the fact that they're playing a player short for a good probably, I don't want to say half of that game, but almost darn near it. That's a pretty impressive win for Team Penguin.
It was. It was a great win from Team Penguin. I mean, just able to reject everything that Parlay Ego Kings did in game number 2. They played a very solid, sound defensive game. Never really let big opportunities happen. And Pauly Walnuts, when he was called upon, answered the call every single time. And that's exactly what you need from a keeper at this level. And if Team Penguin can replicate that energy and that focus that they had at the end of that series, I think it's going to be a very, very tough match for Vita FC.
And we had talked about for Team Penguin, when you already went ahead and then knocked out that number 2 seed in round number 1, it felt like they had really put themselves into a very advantageous situation, sort of running through the rest of the bracket. You had mentioned been able to win 6 straight games in order to get into that grand final as well. Vita FC most definitely going to have their hands full. But you know what? How about instead of us continuing to talk about it, how about we be about it? Let's go ahead and take ourselves a quick break. And on the other side, we've got our grand final for the extra effort tournament here. It'll be Vita FC versus Team Penguin right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the final time this evening to Extra Effort here on the Bestie in Slot channel. It is time for the grand finals. Hunted and Q here to bring you all of that action. Team Penguin and Vita FC. Team Penguin comes into this one, again, undefeated through the bracket so far. Haven't dropped a game. Vita FC, a bit more of a rocky road, but they've been able to persevere, and they have made it to the top 2. A best of 3 for the finals in this one. Should be an exciting matchup.
Which side would you rather be on here? The team that's swept their way through, or the team that has already been able to overcome a little bit of adversity, has been pushed the distance in their last 2 series heading into this grand final here, Hunted?
Well, I personally would like to be on the side of the team that wins 2 games. If that is that an option? Am I able to pick that option?
You know what? We'll roll with it as we go ahead and head right on in to game number 1. The only reason I asked is because Team Penguin hasn't dropped a game as far as in this playoffs. You'll wonder if a little bit of doubt starts to creep into the mind if they drop game number 1 here. But you know what? Let's not talk about semantics. Let's not try and predict the future. Let's actually see how things break down here. It is the Team Penguin who does have at least a little bit of possession here for now, deep inside of this Vita FC territory. Kyler will be able to maintain the possession for now to pass over and across, but will be denied entry from the box.
And we'll see what Team Penguin can do to try to break through the Vita FC defense, as Vita FC definitely grew as that series went on in that semifinal, and they looked quite good coming out of it, as the guy that gets with an opportunity here to try to make it a 1-0 game. Nice pass to Shinez, but it is cut down there by Kyler. Doing well to sit in the passing lanes. Here's Stolly for Team Penguin. Takes a quick shot. Dran had to be ready for that one and was up to the task. So a minute 20 gone in game number 1. Still no score, but an opportunity. Really opportunities on both sides. But the goalies have come up big.
Shot by Polywalna, step right on in, doesn't allow for a shot opportunity. It's a pass across to Wiki, was looking for it, shut down, though I do believe that was Blah who had ended up bouncing up off of, sent back towards the midfield line where Kyler will be able to pick this thing up. An interesting back pass back to Pauly. I think just kind of waiting to assess the field, see exactly which way they want to go about entering back into the offensive territory. Stolly tries to chase it down inside of the corner, able to beat Dran to its pass across. An open opportunity will be denied.
Yeah, now they actually swapped keepers because Dran ran out of the box, but ultimately it's not going to matter too much, as there's the chip. The guy that gets trying to pick some cherries over here, trying to pick a goal, but not going to beat Polly Walnuts with that, as that's going to be played away by the keeper for Team Penguin. And, you know, one of the things that we don't talk about too much about defensive players, not necessarily keepers, but the defensive players themselves, like Blah that we saw earlier on, as another big long clear. Let's see what happens here with the guy that gets one-on-one with the keeper. He seems to be in these positions all the time, tries to find 15, and will be taken away by Stolly. But just the ability to block shots before they get to your keeper is kind of an underrated skill, and I think as the game continues to grow, we're going to see defenders really prioritize to building that skill, as it just really helps your keeper to not have to make every save.
Having that additional defender as far as consistently able to keep themselves in play, definitely a helping factor. What's been interesting, though, is it does feel like as far as Vita FC, they're almost opting for the opposite strategy, keeping that cherry picker, which means one less defender. Team Penguin going to be able to capitalize on this one. It's a pass off of that back wall. Stolly drills it home, and it will be Team Penguin with the lead in game 1.
And this is where I say the defensive player is really crucial, because it's hard for the read off the back wall from the keeper to be in a good enough position to make that save. But if you're the defender and you're shadowing that player that has an opportunity to find that header, it can be a little bit easier for you to get a touch, because you're just trying to pass the ball out of the box essentially. And unfortunately, that time Blah wasn't up to the task, so it will be a 1-0 game here for Team Penguin, as that's going to be a little bit of keep away back towards Kyler. And now in game number 1, TP with a lead. We'll see if they can hang on to it.
Interesting play to see Pauly Walnuts very aggressively going upfield. Shot on target there from Stolly was just a tad bit high. And, well, here's going to be Vita FC trying to surmount a little bit of a counterattack opportunity. It'll be Blah who picks it up and moves just inside that midfield line. Pass up to the guy that gets, but unfortunately for the guy that gets, once it's the 1v1, seems to be struggling to get past the defender.
And now we're in another position here where there's just numbers to the box, and it's going to be Stolly again, who's the benefactor of the play. A beautiful pass from the corner, and once again, they're just given time and space to be able to play out of the corner, a hard ball into the box, and it's right onto the boot of Stolly, who finds the back of the net.
No stalling Stolly on that one. Very quickly able to flip the pitch, flips the script, finds a second one here for Team Penguin. And now it's just 100 seconds left on the clock for Vita FC to at least start with finding a first, but they're going to need 2 just to force an overtime.
They're going to need 2, and they're going to need really to find any form of sustained offense. They've had a couple of chances on breaks, but they haven't had big offensive possessions up to this point, as Dran has to make a save from Wiki that time, and they're going to try again on this long transition play, but the ball gets away from 15, and now it's in the hands of Paulie Walnuts, and this is just how it's been for Vita up to this point. They've lost possession. They've been maybe able to get 1 shot, maybe 2 shots on every opportunity, but they've got to play defense here, and it's a hat trick for Stolly at the end of game 1.
Wheels are coming off a little bit, it feels like here, Hunted. Right now, Team Penguin have been able to completely double and triple down the pressure. You had mentioned yet another goal here from Stolly. It's 54 seconds. They need to move with a different sort of sense of urgency.
Yeah, I mean, there's no time to waste now if you are Team Penguin, especially if you want to come back here in game number 1, or rather, sorry, if you're Team Vita here. If they want to try to come back in game 1, as Stolly, again, just going to play it into the safe arms of Paulie Walnuts. As he plays it out to Peter Deity. The feed up towards Wiki. Wiki, pass across. A little bit of a chip play. And time is going to expire here very, very shortly, and we will have Team Penguin up by a game with 1 game to go. They're even going to get the mercy rule, so not even going to let the game finish out all the way through. It's Team Penguin, game number 1 victors, and yeah, this is all on the side of Vita FC to do something to try to weather the storm.
Yeah, talk about coming out and really setting the tone and being able to come out and just really prove a point in game number 1. Not only is it about being able to end things early with the 4 goals, but also their defense had looked so good. There was like a couple of times early where we saw like quick transitions up to the guy that gets, but they were able to make the adjustments, and they didn't allow it after basically the first minute.
Yeah, it was just a game all the way around for Team Penguins. They just were better offensively. They were better defensively. They were better in transition. I mean, that's really all you can say about that. Paulie Walnuts really didn't even have to do much. He didn't have to make too many saves. He didn't have to really challenge himself too often, because there was just not much that was done there from Vita FC. And it's not that they can't create those offensive chances, but they just never were able to find the proper angle, and they're going to have to figure out how to do that here in game 2.
Does look like we're going to be keeping the same orientation as far as Team Penguin, working from left to right here as we do head into game number 2. A very important game for Vita FC. It feels like you've got to come out here and strike first, especially with the pace that Team Penguin had shown that their offense is able to produce that in game 1.
Well, here's Sinez now trying to work his way around Stolly. Stolly instead going to take that one away, and it's going to be Wiki and Peter Deity. Heading down the pitch, here's Peter Deity, back to Wiki, back wall, not going to be able to score it. I think Wiki wanted that initial touch on goal, but just couldn't quite find the angle. That was a nice little play, though. I like the pass back from Peter Deity. Really got Dran out of position, but they couldn't quite connect, and now they're going to have another chance. This time it's across the way. Again, Stolly with a hat trick in game 1. Can he work some more of that magic and propel his team to a victory? Oh no, 15's dropped the game, so we'll see what happens now.
See if they at least continue pressing forward. That's going to ring up off of the post. Well, now a quick counterattack the opposite way. Space here in the open field. Stolly looking for Wiki. Wiki's shot shut down by Blah. But there is still possession, still maintained here from Team Penguin off the back wall. Stolly looks to follow it up, but nice save here from Dran.
Yeah, that was important. Big save, keeps the game level as they try to battle back here in game number 2 and equalize this series. Still missing a player, though. 15 hasn't yet reconnected the server. We'll see if he can get back onto the pitch soon. Paulie Walnuts with a big save. Now it's going to be Stolly with Wiki. Here they come, 2-on-1. Wiki fires. Good save from Dran. Reads that one well. 15's back in the game, and we're back to full strength.
Times on either side here now, unable to capitalize on that player advantage. It has to be a little bit of a motivating factor for the defense of Vita FC. The fact that you were able to withstand that, minute and a half or so that you didn't have that additional player. Wiki looking for a pass across the Stolly, not going to quite dial it up the way that they were looking for. Polly Walnuts will be able to step up out of the goal, keeps this possession. Now moving forward here for Team Penguin as we quickly approach the midway point.
Well, now Peter Deity with space. This is awkward out in front of the box. Wiki gets a piece of it but pushes it wide. Blah will play it up to the guy that gets, but that's taken away quickly. Now Stolly back over to Wiki. Will leave the ball behind, unfortunately, and now 15 will play it upwards. Again, taken away, this time by Kyler. Wiki across to Peter Deity with time and space. Chip play to Stolly, but it's Dran who takes that one away at the halfway mark.
Trying to put extra pressure on with the extra pass. I almost can't help but wonder if you fire a shot on there, if maybe it's less anticipated than the pass. As far as for now, though, we will still be tied up at 2. 15 with a pass. Justinez back to 15, trying to have a little bit of a give and go action. However, they're not going to be able to fire a shot on that one. Instead, it's possession given back over to Team Penguin. And with the fact that Team Penguin already walked away with that first dub, they'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable with the score tied up, especially now after being able to flip the field super quick. And Stolly bangs it home for Team Penguin to take the lead.
And it's so difficult because you've got this ball into the box there from Wiki, and Dran reads it as being on net. He jumps too late, unable to get any kind of touch on it. And it's an easy follow-up there from Stolly, who's just in a great position, able to capitalize on the mistake by the keeper, as right now Vita have just not been able to get anything going offensively. They need something to happen in the next couple of minutes, or this one is going to be a pretty quick final, and Team Penguin really just seem to be stepping on the gas, and they don't want to look back here.
It's interesting, earlier when we were talking about the 11 seed potentially being able to advance, we talked about getting hot at the right time. Well, the number 1 seed, Team Penguin, have most definitely gotten hot at the right time. Open field here for Stolly. Stolly, Wiki only have to worry about 15 to beat. Stolly's going to send it in off the backboard. Wiki looks to follow it up with a header, not going to be able to find it. Shot from the top of the key, loses its mark. Pass across to Stolly, bang! And it's a 2-goal lead for Team Penguin.
And I mean, just an incredible pass. After all that's happened out in front of the box, the ball gets played out of deflection, and Wiki with the wherewithal and the pitch vision to find that pass across the Stolly. Just such a great play. Wiki has been so very good offensively for his team. And this time, 2 assists in game number 2, potentially the last game of the tournament here. Might even get a goal to really put this one away, but it is going to be Sinez able to make the block. Stolly still wanting that hat trick yet again. Already has 2 in this game, but with a minute 14 left, Team Penguin needs to be careful here. But Peter Deity, a great back check there, able to play that back to Polly Walnuts, and it doesn't look good right now for Vita.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for Vita FC right now, especially with the fact that Team Penguin seems to be very cognizant of the guy that gets, who continues to try and have those quick transition plays. Again, really kind of playing more cheating up for the offensive half. Hold on a second. They will be able to take the possession here as Vita FC. Blah sends it forward. The guy that gets, bang, off of the rebound. And we got ourselves a 1-goal ball game.
And now all of a sudden, things are a little bit different here. Team Vita finally breaks through. They're able to get the strike that they needed. Polly Walnuts, unfortunately, didn't quite have the read on the back wall. And now with 38 seconds, there is an opportunity for Vita FC. But they need to regain possession here, as Kyler's going to try to send it down to Wiki, right into the hands of Dran. And now Dran wants to set the charge forward, but it's a huge giveaway. Oh, they blocked each other. Wiki and Peter Deity blocked each other, and now there's another attack coming back the other way. The guy that gets into the box, it's going to be blocked away. Dran's here to try to help out. Wiki with a good challenge, plays it back, and now Blah off the defender but the possession is still theirs for the moment, but Kyler takes it away, so the mistake doesn't come back to bite Team Penguin, and they are your extra effort champions.
Well, they might have dropped a couple of series during the course of the ladder, but once they got into the playoffs, perfection. It was 8 straight games to be able to win 4 straight series. Talk about a championship run from Team Penguin.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a fantastic bracket for them. I mean, there's no other way to put it, right? They come in as the number 1 seed instantly again. I mean, it's just the storyline of the tournament. They come in, they decide they want to take on the number 2 seed immediately. They don't drop a game there, and then they never look back. They had a couple of very close games. There were some teams that really played them tough, but ultimately never dropping a game, taking the final in a 2-0 fashion. Really well done to them, and congratulations on the victory.
Well, at least for now, they can call themselves the best in NA, I do suppose. But I know obviously we'll be ready to load back in for another tournament in the not so distant future here. And I would imagine that we'll continue to see more kind of start to come together as well. It seems like the community really enjoying rematch here. I got to say, for my first look at it, because unfortunately I was on the road during the first open beta, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing so far.
Oh yeah, this game is fantastic. Again, I think that there's so much potential for Rematch Esports, and Slow Clap has done an incredible job of getting the betas off the ground and dealing with the community and everything. And honestly, they haven't, in my opinion, they haven't even looked at the esports side of things. I mean, they've given us the spectator client and everything like that, but I say that as somebody who's anticipated and excited for what's to come, because once they finally do sort of turn their sight to what can Rematch Esports become, I think there's so much potential, so many things that they could do with it. I think we're just going to be biding our time until that happens, and I'm happy to be here, happy to cast these tournaments as we continue to put them on. And got to give a big shout out again to Bestie and Slot and everybody behind the scenes there that's running these tournaments in the first place.
Yeah, and I mean, we get the easy job. We get to show up and get excited about pixels, but of course, it takes a crew in the background to make sure that we are able to put together a production like this. Like I said, it's been a lot of fun as far as on the evening. Hunted, hopefully, well, I just realized, yeah, Hunted, hopefully we'll be able to run things back here again here soon, because that was a heck of a lot of fun. Again, big shout out to Team Penguin. Perfection in the playoff bracket to be able to call themselves champion. But that is going to do it as far as for now for extra effort, as well as for the crew over here at Bestie in Slot. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that follow button down below and turn those notifications on. That way we can catch y'all when we go live again. And until we do catch y'all back for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere. Game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. That's Hunted. I'm Q. For the rest of the crew, from the front to the back, y'all have a great rest of your week. Peace.